Good morning and welcome to the Mildura Senior College for this opening T20 clash of the Global Spirit of Cricket Festivale. It's Pat Silcox alongside of Peter Walsh. Morning, Walshy.
Hello, Pat. Yes, a bit tense out there because they've started, and there was a lot that had to happen yesterday to get us organised. And I just went out and had a look, and then I heard the scratching of players with their cricket boots on and the studs as they walked on the concrete. And it was a good feeling. It was like we're ready to go in a game of football, and this is a game of cricket. And it's a wonderful week of cricket too. And at last now, after some magnificent celebrations yesterday before it all started, and a street parade following a brass band through the streets of Mildura, now we're playing the game we love so much, and that's cricket.
That's exactly right, Pete. Now, the status of play here is that we have EV2 cricket playing against the Saxon Kings. EV2 cricket winning the toss, electing to field. We just got through the opening over from Ashley Sipple. We'll have our NV Play score overlays up for you very shortly. And what a beautiful day it is locally today, Peter Walsh, for cricket.
Glorious day. I think people have done the right thing. They've bought their jumpers or their coats or just in case. But I'm reckoning as the day unfolds, so too will these games of cricket, because the games are being played at different venues. And our aim will, of course, be to provide you, our viewers and our listeners, with scores of these games, because it is full throttle. And once you get to a cricket venue, you're not going to want to leave because there's so much going on.
Great look at the wicket square here at the Mildura Senior College, which is in fantastic order for this time of the month in September. And this pitch today we're using looks to be the middle of the square, Walsh, and it looks an absolute beauty.
It does, doesn't it? No, and also too, I might add, we got a cup of coffee and some breakfast this morning. Even though it is a public holiday, there are a few shops that are open, and a lot of cricketers were on the streets of Mildura, not late last night, but just taking in what the flavour was to offer and following the brass band as we paraded down to where the banks of the Murray River were.
So it looks like Dylan Fernandez is the man into the attack from this southern end. Your opening batsman Gavin Brown and Stephen Mace for the Saxon Kings. Of course, Stephen we saw quite a deal of during the Tri-Series, Pete.
He looked good too. Looked very, very composed and in control. And of course, the amazing thing about it is that they've got to then switch into go mode because the number of overs are being reduced. Naturally enough, it's at 20 over per game for each side. And there's no messing around. You go out there, and they were talking last night at a wonderful function that was held just on the banks of the Murray River about what gettable scores were, and they're all talking about 150, 160. That's a lot of runs, isn't it?
It is a lot of runs. Of course, we have shortened boundaries for this format of the game into 55 metres as we see the ball taken out over the long on boundary there. We'll go away for 4. So first boundary of the morning here at the Mildura Senior College. Now we have 3 power plays, of course, Pete. This opening power play, which will roll through until at the end of the 6th over, where 3 men can be outside of the ring. And then I think our secondary power play then comes into play when they can have up to 4 outside the ring. And that third and final power play right at the back end, up to 5 fieldsmen outside of the restrictive circles.
That's the way it'll be, and that's the way that our umpires will officiate today, and we'll give them a mention too, because they're a very important key cog. Tan Moisana is joined by James Feibig. They are the 2 umpires, and they, of course, came over and said hello and all the best, etc. And they've got lots to think about too, because it's a different set of circumstances for them too with the rules.
That it is, as we see Brown once again working the ball away on the onside behind the man at backward square. Gets through for the single. So he looks like he's advanced up to 8 runs so far. Steve Mace has yet to face the delivery. He's been very calmly just waiting and watching on down the non-striker's end.
We saw both sides have their team meeting beforehand, just working out what was going to have to happen. And then the imposing figure of Mr. A. Kratzman came in with his, imposing figure. I think that's the best way to sum him up. He's looking forward to it today too, I bet. Absolutely.
Mace is just stepping back outside the leg stump to free up some room on the offside. Can't beat the field there, so that'll be the completion of our second over. As we look for a refresh of the scorecard here for you. And it's none for 8 at the end of 2.
It's been amazing, the build-up to this particular carnival. We've had the Tri-Series with the Australians winning that game and winning by 30 runs, and they've headed in different directions, some of the Australians, of course, and this is where cricket is in this day and age, some diving into different teams that they've already been selected for this competition. And then all of a sudden a sea of colour yesterday as we wandered through the street mainly of Mildura down to where the banks of the Murray were, and people were tooting horns and waving from restaurants, and it was just such a fun time, really good. It's not a bad shot either to start the second over.
Looks like Brown's going to get after it early in this first power play as he's winging away there behind backward square for another boundary, so it takes his tally to 12. Saxon Kings are none for 12 in this, the third over. For opening T20 clash as part of the Global Spirit of Cricket Festivale. We have, of course, transitioned across Walshy from the Tri-Series into the T20s. And with that, we've seen a whole fresh colour palette ushered into play.
They look good out there. They're bright. The blueies are out there. They look $1 million. It's all about displaying what we like, and that is scores that are being frugally bought. That's a good shot too. Another boundary. So a good start too as we move into the third over. And it's none for 16. And guess what? Brown scored 16 and Mace hasn't scored.
Stephen's just had the one delivery to take care of. Gavin Brown's taken it upon himself to really get that run rate going. As you said, Peter, the discussion yesterday was for tallies of around that 150, 160 off the 20 overs, which is, you know, around that almost 8 runs an over mark, which is pretty good going, isn't it?
It is. Brown, of course, has been about the place over 100 first-class games. And some people, you think, what else do they do in their life? And is there enough time to get them well prepared? There's a hectic week of cricket last week with the Australians defeating the Australian A's in the final of the Tri-Series, and we hope to have plenty of interviews available for those who pop into our commentary box and say hello here at this magnificent sporting venue. It really is quite spectacular for cricket, and a good day too. None for 17 in the third over.
So Ash Sipple is just trying to revisit his strategies here a little after going for 9 runs so far in his first 3 deliveries of this, his second over. As Brown is advancing, hitting down the ground once again. And he's through for another single, so takes his score along to 17, is it? 17 from 14 deliveries. Mace has 1 from 2. Score is none for 18, and this is the third over.
I know we'll be doing cricket, of course, because the cricket's on, but we'll mention the footy in a sec too. We will.
Brown again leaning back and hitting through the offside, finding the gap, and it's away for another boundary. What a start from him.
He's been in bold form. Must have slept well last night and got himself ready to fire up an early breakfast. And now, none for 22 with Brown on 21 off 15. No retirements available either. You have to continue to bat on, and plenty of rules and regulations for us to go through. We won't hit you over the head with those straight away whilst you're still gnawing on your Brandon flakes or your Wheat Bix or whatever. And if you hurry up and get here, because this bloke has given us some entertainment in the first over and the second over and the third over. He's done very well.
Just making it look very easy at the moment, Pete, as he turns another one away on the onside. That will be the end of 3 overs. And Saxon Kings are none for 23. Brown is 22 from 16. Mace is just the 1 from 2 deliveries. EV2 Cricket winning the toss and electing to bowl first here in our opening T20 at the Mildura Senior College. Now back onto those power plays, no more than 3 outside the ring in overs 1 to 5. Then the fielding team can push an extra man out to have 4 between overs 6 and 15. And then the third and final power play, no more than 5 outside the fielding restriction area from over 16 to 20.
Yeah, there's a bit to happen. Of course, there's other matches that are being played today. A couple at another venue, and there's one after this one at this venue. And there's the ball hit in the air down towards mid-off. It's going to land safely. It flew in the air and went very high. Rushing back and attempting to get there was Andrew Kratzman, who couldn't. And they get through 4. Did they run 2 then? I think they might have.
Yeah. It was almost a little bit of a loose shot, wasn't it, from Brown, where he just dropped the hand off the bat, but still managed to make it pitch safely in the outfield.
Dylan Fernandez delivers wide of the off stump. And that's in the air as well, and will again fall just shy of a fieldsman out there, number 3, who got across and couldn't quite get there in time. That's Matt Harris. So you expect that this is going to happen, Pat, because of the restriction of overs. It's only a 20-over game. You go for it early and in the power plays. None for 27, Brown 26 and Mason 1.
Aerial route is the way to go, isn't it, when there's only 3 men outside the ring. This one's cramping up Brown there, just into the body. Is he able to get it around the corner for 1? Keeper does a sterling job, Hammer Stewart, to take it pretty much 3/4 of the way down to the fine leg boundary, and he retrieves the ball, sends it back over the stumps. So none for 27 in this 4th over. Brown 26 from 18. Stephen Mace 1 from 2.
And a big weekend of football, of course, in the AFL Grand Final. At Sydney Swans are playing against the Brisbane Lions, and I just want to give a big cheerio out to the Tasmanian connection. Chris Fagan, of course, is coaching and has been a wonderful coach of the year, yes. Even though I don't know whether I agree that you can have the coach of the year who mightn't be the coach of the premiership team, but still. But then some very, very exciting news coming out of Tasmania this morning. Nick Foote will be one of the umpires in the middle. Wonderful performance by Nick of Tasmania, and congratulations to him and to all the umpires who get their serve at the MCG. So that'll be good fun, and of course we'll be monitoring what's going on in that game. And we'll be doing our multi-skilling, because we'll be calling the cricket, but we'll also have an eye on the football. So rest assured, if where you're sitting now is your comfort zone for over the weekend, well, stay there. Get yourself some potato chips and a few quiet ones, and get yourself a viewing spot, and we'll keep you entertained. There's no doubt about that.
So Dylan Fernandez once again gets close to the umpire there this time as he gets a little angle off the pitch away through to the keeper, and Brown unable to make contact for one of the rare times, Peter, so far in this opening session.
He'd be happy with the way he's playing, wouldn't he? 27 off 20. Just have to make sure that you're aware, if you're just joining our coverage, there's 20 over games, the first of plenty coming up in the next few days.
Goes aerial once again. It's high. The keeper makes a valiant attempt to get around there behind square. Couldn't quite hang on to it at the end. So, my goodness, he really is looking to move swiftly. Maybe he's got another appointment to go to after this opening hour, Peter. I'm not sure, but tell you what, Gavin Brown has got everybody up and about early in this opening 4 over period.
Well, it's 3 times the ball has been just quite away from a fieldsman to attempt to take the catch. I don't think anyone, we wouldn't be cruel enough to say that it was a missed catch, but that's another one that went flying high in the sky, and the keeper ran out there and did the dive but couldn't quite get there.
So that's 4 completed overs. Score is none for 32. Brown is 28 from 21. Mace 3 from 4. The partnership 32 from 25 deliveries. What a great start this has been from the Saxon Kings in this opening power play.
It's interesting to make some judgments on how much we think in terms of runs in the bank would be suited. The track doesn't seem as if it's doing anything in terms of ducks and drakes. We're going to see a bowling change already. I think Ian Wood might be the player who's going to come on and bowl. So the score at the moment, brilliantly started. It's 4 overs, none for 32, so that's 8 per over. And that's exactly what you'd want. And after being sent in, they'd be pretty happy.
Yeah. Just trying to get my handle on the colours out in the middle this morning, Peter. I guess the EV2 boys leaning into the Adelaide Strikers potentially with a bit of that royal blue and black. And got to say that the Saxon Kings look very regal in their olive and black. It's quite a striking look, isn't it?
Actually, when you look at them and you have a fleeting glimpse, there's a bit of New Zealand in their colours.
There is. Yep.
New Zealand, of course, are wonderful for their performance in the Tri-Series. Didn't win a game, but gee, they were about the places. This ball is hit high and wide, and it just maybe bounces inside the fence. And it's gone away for a boundary. We have a look away to our right there. It's hard to pick up where the ball did bounce, whether it met the rope or got over the rope, but I think it's been signalled a 4.
My car's sitting right about there, Pete, so I questioned my decision when I pulled all my equipment out this morning, thinking, should have I moved it a bit further around out of the hitting zone, but might be a bit of a work and a watch in progress across the course of the day.
Yeah, well, you know, as broadcasters, our responsibility, and you've been in the game long enough, the same as myself, Pat, we have to mention everything, and we should mention that when the business of passing on the trophies, etc., for the Tri-Series was sorted, there was a big palm tree away to our right, which lost a lot from the top of the palm tree and fell down. Fortunately, didn't land on any people that were close, and on a car either, but came from nowhere. It was like a clap of thunder.
It was quite windy, wasn't it, on that final day of the Tri-Series?
Was.
As Wood is appealing there for the leg before as he pushes Brown back into his crease. In fact, it's May, should I say, who's on strike here at the southern end. Just happy to play the sheet anchor role at the moment, the Australian opener, as Brown has taken all before him so far with his 28 from 21 deliveries.
Ian Wood too, and there's little stories that we've got on each of the players, but Ian Wood, as this next ball over the top has gone for 6. Short and pulled hard and high and extremely handsome. No possibility at all of anyone getting near that. Running back there was William Moggs, but that was a big bold shot, just landing in front of where we are. That was a big 6. None for 42 in the 5th. Brown 28.
It's quite remarkable, the transformation we're seeing in the game since the Tri-Series, taking it to a whole new level. It's a beautiful seeing day for batting first here at the Mildura Senior Colleges. This time Mace is just handling back down the wicket to the bowler. So midway through the 5th over, none for 42. Mace 13, Brown is 28. And boundaries are plenty.
They are, yes. The rope's been sorted out. We can also tell you that Ian Wood didn't start his cricket until late 20s. So there you are, and he's in now, and he delivers the wide down the offside. First time that the umpires have been brought into vogue for sundries. That's, of course, Tan Moisana and James Firebig. Haven't they played an extremely significant role in what happened with the Tri-Series competition? And they also will be very busy with all the games they've got to do now in this T20 bash.
As Wood gets in close to the umpire there, right arm over the wicket. And Mace again defending down the ground. Wood looks very strong in his approach. He's got a solid action and follow through. So he's all shoulder, so you're expecting a fair bit of a way swing to the right-hand batsman.
Yes. He delivers, and batsman down the ground, shy at the stumps, is not quite going to happen because I think he misfielded. He did where we're watching, and it's none for 43, which could change over. After 1 ball remaining in the 5th over, with Brown on 28 off 21, and Mace with that 6, he's moved to 13 off 9, and this is a very, very impressive start. Score checking, none for 44 it is, after 5 overs with Peter Walsh and Pat Silcox here. We might be here for a few days, I think, because most of the games that we're covering are from this ground.
Yep, and we've just moved our position a little bit more central, looking out through the Mildura Settlers Cricket Club change rooms. I think we're in a really decent spot today, Peter, right in the middle of the wicket. Got a good view out over the ground.
Well, I'm happy for you. I've just got to move this big pole that's in front of me. That might happen at some stage. It's okay.
We'll get through this one more over here and then power play changes.
None for 44 after 5. Brown 28. Mace 14. Andrew Kratzman winning the toss, and they said, no boys, you can have a bat, and they have licked their lips and thought to themselves, let's start in a hurry and continue, and I'm reckoning that's the case. EV2 cricket versus Saxon Kings.
I think we're going to get a special guest to have a chat with you in a minute, Walshy, when we get through the end of this first power play, which is just about due to wind up in this, the 6th over. As again, another ball out towards the boundary. It's a pretty decent piece of fielding out there. Was it Matt Harris who sprawled himself across the turf? Managed to retrieve it just inside the boundary rope. And more runs added to the tally. So wickets hard to come by so far for the EV2 cricket side, as it's John Short now into the attack from this southern end. Nice little bit of curve away, but not quite the control that he was hoping for. So that one's signalled wide outside the off stump.
And at the gathering of the troops yesterday, all of the clubs represented, all of the 8 teams represented, and very specific too as to what the wide call would be for how much the ball is deviating from stumps. And there is a good delivery, and it's a wicket. A wicket has fallen at the start of the 6th over and at the start of a bowling change, a short bowling change, pardon the pun, and a wicket at 1 for 47 in the 6th. Brown 28 and Mace out for 16. A very good start indeed, but a couple of quick changes of the movement of the bowlers out there, and that was a good wicket. Just
got his radar right that time, didn't he, with the outswing delivery, as Mace almost got himself out of position, trying to hit over the top of it in the end, and the ball going through and taking the stump. So EV2 cricket finally getting on the board. Score 1 for 47 in this, the 6th over, and the new man to the crease is Queenslander Clint Kebley.
This is where it's all, well, I shouldn't say fun and games, it's all very serious, of course, but of course you've got some of these players who play in the same team as others and they know each other's style, but now, of course, with the draft taking place a couple of months ago, you didn't know where you were going until the phone call came through and the situation was explained to you. So now you know a lot about some of the players on the opposition and some of the players on your own team. It's ducks and drakes, isn't it?
It is somewhat, no doubt about that, as we wait on Kebley just to get himself set at the crease. Of course, we saw a fair bit of Clint during the tri-series, and he made a decent start here in the final too before being dismissed, so he'll know this scenery quite well, and he'll be looking to get things rolling straight from the outset.
Yeah, good result that. Wide of the off stump, and I thought the umpire was going to do something with the 2 arms outstretched, and as if he was taking off like in a hang glider, but he didn't. So there was no necessity for a call. Bit of colour here for both sides in the competition, which is good. Yeah, I like the colour. Colour's good. This ball hit in the air, down the ground and caught in the deep. Lovely catch down there. Let's have a look and spin around. That's number 9 down there, Willie Moggs, who is jumping up and down and getting all excited. 2 wickets falling quickly, 2 for 47. Moggs took the catch off the bowling of Short. How about that for a bowling change? 2 wickets falling quickly, and all of a sudden the side that won the toss, well headed there by Andrew Kratzman, have picked up 2 wickets.
It's all starting to pay off now, isn't it? Inserting the Saxon Kings first here at the Mildura Senior College in this opening T20 of our Global Spirit of Cricket Festivale, and unfortunately for Kebley, he has to head back with his score none from 2, as he was looking to continue to build that run rate after the impressive start from Gavin Brown. That will now bring another new man out into the middle, as we just wait to see who the Saxon Kings will send on the way through. Looks like it might be skipper Andrew Sharp in at number 4.
Yes, and a couple of minutes earlier on, he would have been sitting back saying, how good is this start? It's a none for 47 as we start the 6th over, rolling along beautifully, but now all of a sudden, Mace out bowled by Wood and Keeble out caught in the deep by William Moggs off the bowling of Wood. 1 for 47 and now 2 for 47. That's a couple of good wickets.
Yeah, after a bit of a wayward start from Short, he really has got himself dialed in now here at the Mildura Senior College.
All we need is a long bowling, and then we could have the long and the short, but that's not going to happen. But when we're starting to do that, we're looking at names. We're looking at being able to attempt to entertain our listeners and our viewers, and hope you're enjoying our coverage of where we'll be for a period of time. It's the Mildura Senior College Oval. Magnificent venue here too, isn't it?
As Short as just getting himself settled out in the middle, left-hand bat, so that'll just adjust the line length of the bowler and certainly the field placings to a degree. So the outswing now should be angling into the left-handed Short, as Sharp, should I say, as he pushes on the onside, picks up a single, so he's got himself underway. Score is 2 for 48 in this, the 6th over.
We're going to see all of the teams, of course, as they jump from venue to venue. And forward planning has been to the fore. Anthony Telfer playing a magnificent role in getting things organised and also looking to see what the weather is going to do. It could be Anthony on the phone now, is it? No, I don't think so. No. I think that there might be a bit of precipitation that is forecast for later in the week, but the whole deal is on the weekend. They've got other venues they can play at. And also, you can jump about and you can play on hard wickets if the turf wickets are providing you with a few problems. 2 for 48 is the score after 6 overs. So that's a good run rate. But, of course, the 2 wickets that have fallen, Mace and Keeble, they're the 2 major blows that have been struck. And does it swing back as far as you're concerned, Pat? Is it like pretty much 6 to 1, 6 to 1, half dozen the other, about even Stevens now with the score at 2 for 48?
I guess a fresh man at the crease is always of benefit for the bowling team, but Brown's the one they want to get out, isn't it? He is really shown a liking to get things moving. As of course now we move into this second power play, an extra man will be allowed outside of the restrictive circles. And it looks like it's going to be Damien Meek, is it, from the school end?
It is.
He's going to come into the attack. He'll be bowling to the left-handed Sharp. Short getting through his opening over, albeit with a wide, but 2 wickets to go with it as well. 2 for 4. What a start from him.
Yeah, very true. And Meek, one of many affable customers for the respective teams, a lovely man. He and his wife have been following the cricket circle for quite a period of time, and Meek just loves to get the ball in hand, run in and bowl quickly. And he does just that with his first ball of his first over, and it's worked away through the vacant slip cordon, and they'll get through for a quick single. And you just have different ways of getting ready for a game. I saw last night there was some entertainment provided, and the Spirit of Cricket song was presented on centre stage. We had Rodney Hogg having a chat, Anthony Telfer talking to a major sponsor. So many good things to think about. Dougie Walters getting ready for a spot at the crease behind the microphone a little later on in this tournament. But everyone had a big smile on their faces. And then, of course, we had the twins up there with their beard working beautifully. And it was all about having a bit of fun before the serious stuff, which is on now, and it's 2 for 49 in the 7th.
So Meek just adjusting his field a little on the onside there. Looks good through the crease, as we can see Brown just retreating back and pulling the ball across out into the deep mid-wicket boundary, so pick up another single.
If you had a wager on the cricket, you shouldn't have, of course, but who would have thought that the first wicket would have fallen and the second wicket would have fallen both at the same score and with not one of the recognised bowlers?
It was a turn of events, wasn't it? All sort of came from nothing there. There's Meek in again. And this one is being allowed to pass through there by Saxon Kings skipper Andrew Sharp. We're going to get himself settled out there in the middle. Shout out to Mildura Settlers curator Lee Penner, who's done such a remarkable job here
hasn't he? Yep.
to get this square looking so good at the start of the season. One angles into the body, taken down towards the man there at backward square on the ring. They'll get through for another single. Fielding done there by Paul Adami. So as part of those playing conditions, Pete, I think we've got a time frame to get through as well as far as the 20 overs being bowled. I think it's around that 80-odd minute mark.
Yes.
The boys need to get that done. We're already up at 40, so things will need to get moving.
No, it was spelled out very boldly yesterday about don't be tardy or you'll get pinged, you'll lose overs. And don't mess around if you're going to have a drink and it's not one of those drink breaks that's been assigned. We'll get someone to bring a bottle out to you quickly, but make sure the game continues to roll along, not in slow motion, not in first gear, but in overdrive. It's a fair call too.
Yeah. Ball coming back into the left-hander there from outside the off stump, so the end of Meeks' first over. 7 complete, 2 for 52, the Saxon Kings, with their skipper out in the middle at the moment. Sharp on 3. Brown is 30. He's just come back a little, hasn't he, after that flyer that he got away to, but still going at better than a runner ball currently.
Very
30
true.
runs from 24 deliveries. One of the other intriguing playing conditions, Pete, we're talking about the time allotted per innings, which is 80 minutes from the commencement. But should they get to that 80-minute mark and not have completed the 20, one player for each over not bowled is to be removed from the field as we continue through.
Yep. Well, John Short is the man who would be enjoying his role in the middle. Why wouldn't he be? Bit of colour out there too, and a few people sitting out near where the school is, away to our right. It's the first ball of the next over, hammered through the offside, out towards the boundary. And I thought for a minute that was going to go all the way, but fielding right on the fence out there was Dylan Fernandez, who cleaned up beautifully. And there's a couple of runs, but gee, that was well hit, wasn't it?
Yes, the timing is totally on point this morning from Gavin Brown.
2 for 54.
Leans back and tries to find a little bit of room there. Backward a point, but it's the ring field from EV2 Cricket is up to the challenge.
Well done too, Pat, to all of the owners of the franchise or the sponsors, etc. That's a sundry, a wide well down the offside. No one can stretch out and get near that. 2 for 55 in the 8th over, but we'll be hopefully talking to some of the bosses of the cricket teams during our coverage over the next 3 or 4 days and getting an idea as to what their commitment is to this excellent activity called cricket at the 20 over per game side, and that's I think what we need, a bit of the old slap and tickle.
Beautiful work from John Short there from his own bowling as he continues to try and really pull this run rate back a little for EV2 Cricket. 2 for 55 midway through the 8th, going at around about 7.33 per over at the moment. Head out towards the deep cover boundary. Fielded there by Willie Moggs as he gets it back into the bowler. So just the single.
A real thrill for all of these people too, because not all available for the Tri-Series for Australia when they were playing, or Australia A, but so many then lobbing into Mildura and playing with some of their better cricketers and playing with some people that they probably haven't met all that much apart from Zoom meetings, etc., and getting the chance to play cricket now at this level, which is really good.
Shout for leg before there. Might have just been tailing away down the leg side. Umpire is quickly in a position to keep an eye on the potential run on offer there for the batsman. Couldn't ask for a better start weather-wise to our T20 portion of the Global Spirit of Cricket Festivale. As again, just a bit of pace off from Short. It's becoming a little awkward for Sharp to get across. And that looks to be the end of our 8th over. Score 2 for 56. Brown is 33 and Sharp is 3.
So Walshy.
We did mention as we were leading up to the commencement of our coverage, Pat, that we would have guests who would be cruising in and saying hello, and that's going to happen. And that's one thing I'm looking forward to, having a chat to players from the respective teams. All got stories to tell, haven't they?
That they have, Peter. think that's the beauty of the game, the storytelling in the sheds. Over a couple of quiet ones after the game. I think I know as a young guy coming through the ranks, just listening to those stories from the older guys is the way that you learn how to play the game, really.
Absolutely. Had a quick chat to Dougie Walters last night, and just sitting there, and I think of my father, my late father, who passed away quite a period of time ago, and he used to love Doug Walters. Everybody did. Everybody loved Dungog, and everybody loved Doug Walters. And the first ball of a new over from Meek, but he wouldn't be happy with that. It was down leg side, and he's been punished backward of square out to the boundary for 4. A wayward delivery from the Meek man, 2 for 60, and his daughter, I found this out last night, is playing college basketball in Portland, Oregon, in the US of A, and we'll have a bit of detail on that too. What a wonderful journey for her. She's over there now, and very proud mum and dad who were talking about her last night at the function.
So Meek just looking to readdress after Brown took him through the onside for a boundary. This time he's a lot fuller outside the off stump, and Brown unable to get across the top of that one. Goes through to the keeper. 2 for 60 halfway through this, the 9th over. Our opening T20 clash this morning here at the Mildura Senior College. Second game today follows up at around 2 p.m. And that looks to be the Sandgropers going in against the RJR All-Stars. So looking forward to that one too.
Mm-hmm. Got all their names sorted out, have you?
I've done sheets for the first 2 days, Pete, so hopefully that gets us a bit of a head start, albeit that the numbers caused us a little bit of consternation at about 9 a.m. this morning, but we got there in the end.
Oh, well, what you do is you write all the numbers down that have changed and then go into one of the news agencies that will be up and running and then take a Tats Lotto. You never know if you win $1 or $2. Meekie is the man, and Meekie is the deliverer, and that's hit in the air and is dropped. A possibility of a catch there, not to be. Flying high in the air there was Ian Wood, but he couldn't drag it down. Went through his fingertips, looked to be in good position. I lost it in sight because of sitting in this little clubhouse, and then I thought, where's the ball? And there it was, dropping down towards where Ian Wood was, and he stands with hands on hips and starts to ponder what might have been.
Meek is fuller of length this time outside the off stump as Brown goes towards the man on the ring there at mid-off for another single. So that advances his tally to 40 from 34 deliveries. Sharp is 3 from 7, and it's 2 for 63 from 9 overs here as we catch a look at the replay. And there's been a few strokes from Brown that have gone extremely high in the air, which have been quite tricky for the EV2 cricket team in the ring to get their hands around.
A bit of a discussion with Kratzman, the captain, now at the end of that over. There is going to be what? I'm just thinking. Wicketkeeper's having a chat with the skipper, that's all. He's a big man, isn't he, Mr. Kratzman?
He's an imposing figure, I think, as you alluded to him earlier. Walshy stands to be well over 6 feet in the old layman's terms, probably around about 6'3". I would have thought Andrew.
And Mark, I reckon Mark's one of the scorers today.
Yes, he is. He's having a bit of a break, just trying to freshen up his body, ready for game number 2.
He's not throwing out hints that scoring could put Horse under pressure now. Our brilliant scorer who's sitting a couple away from me. There's a bit of pressure there now. I think there is. What do you think?
I think he's doing it quite comfortably. Horses, there's an appeal there for a stumping. As once again, John Short really doing a nice little job here. Early days in this second power play.
Well, a horse is a horse, of course. And he's doing a brilliant job. Yes, he's done so well with what we've had to offer in the last week and a bit with the Tri-Series and now continuing on. And where would you be if you didn't have an adequate scorer who was doing his job?
Be nowhere, I reckon, Pete.
No, nowhere up the street. I mean, when I was talking about Nick Foote, the Tasmanian who's got a gig in the grand final as one of the umpires, one of the better places in Tasmania to visit when you go to Lake Barrington where the rowing is on, there's a big sign that says the road to nowhere. And you drive down that road and you get to Lake Barrington. So there you are. Road signs let you know where we're going. And this fielding is being done in the deep by Moggs, who gets across and does it. And it's at the middle stages of the 10th over, 2 for 64 with Brown on 41 and Sharp on 3. And a couple of wickets to fall, both with the score at 47.
Ace was out bowled short for 16. Kebley caught Moggs bowled short, no score. This partnership has taken the score from 47 now to 64.
Looks like they're getting ready for a drinks break too.
Halfway stage of the 20s, that would line up mathematically, I guess, Peter.
Oh, we're all over the maths. I'll just throw it to you if I've got no idea as to the answer, and you'll give it to me, won't you?
Or pull up the calculator on the laptop. That might just get us out of trouble. Wouldn't be relying on my counting skills either, to be quite fair.
And we heard mentioned yesterday. Are you ready for it? It was mentioned, and it wasn't passed over straight away, but Duckworth Lewis is available if required.
Yes.
So if any Duckworth Lewis questions crop up, I'll leave the commentary box immediately and you can handle them, all right?
Thank you very much.
I wonder if there is a person called... There could be a Duckworth and there could be a Lewis. Of course there could be. But is the hyphen there connected to somebody who exists? There must have been someone there that it got named after. Don't know.
It's a great question, Peter. We might have to look into getting an answer over the next couple of days.
Yeah, well, you can do that for us, please.
Short angles down the leg side. And once again, the Kings are ticking the scoreboard over. I'll pick up another single. So it's 2 for 67. And that's at the completion of 10 overs. So I believe we're going to have a very rapid refreshment break here at the Mildura Senior College. And we're just about ready to resume our final 10-over burst of this opening innings for the Saxon Kings. Walshy, we just had a quick look at the match centre here, and we can see a few of the other games in progress at the moment. Now at Chafey Park, Merbein, Sandgrope has won the toss, elected to bowl, and the Australian Pavilion are 3 for 85 in the 12th over. At the back here on Mildura Senior College number 2, the spot-on strikers won the toss and bowled first. Team Thunder are 4 for 90 with 10.4 overs underway. And of course, our score here at the moment is 2 for 67 after 10. So it looks like we're a little bit behind the pecking order as far as the run scoring is concerned around the traps.
Yeah, and how strange, because a brilliant start. The runs just coming in a flurry and so many boundaries and one over the top for 6. And with the score reaching 47 for 1, you thought, or for no wicket at that stage, that the build-up was there. But now when you look at 10 overs being bowled and just 6.5 per over, yeah, well, I'd say the Kratzman kids would be back and they'd be feeling pretty chuffed.
So we're back with Damien Meek once again from the school end here at the Mildura Senior College. Sharp is looking to force the ball on the offside. Nice piece of fielding there. Andrew Kratzman getting himself to ground very smartly there and cutting off the single in the ring on the offside. Leading by example, the big boy.
He is. He was one that walked into the change room and scratched his boots on the concrete. And he's about to take the ball on the bounce as the next ball is driven to that player. And he flicks it back. Good to see his dad in with the coloured outfit too. The 81-year-old Neville Kratzman, who's been about the place. Wonderful company. So many stories, and very much the pride, as Andrew's saying, he and the dad were getting back, and they'd be driving back to Queensland. There you go. Next ball dispatched to the boundary for 4. Close, but Field's out there moving quickly. The man who took the catch earlier on, William Moggs, couldn't get there. And in attempting to do so, he was being supported out there by Ian Wood, who dropped that catch earlier on. And the score went to 2 for 71 with that boundary in the 11th over. Brown 42 and Sharp is 9.
Sharp enjoying a little extra width outside the off stump on that particular occasion. This time Mika's just angling into the pads. Ball turn away at back at a square for another single. So the current run rate at 6.75 with just a tick under 9 overs, tick over 9 overs remaining. We were talking of around that 150, 160 mark. We sort of feel they've got to get a bit of a wriggle on from here if they're going to achieve that sort of target.
Yes, there's no time to just push and probe, and I don't think there'll be too many maiden overs bowled in this form of the game, that's for sure. Meek bowls a wide down the leg side. I don't think he'd be all that happy so far, Mr. Meek, because he's into his 3rd over and has no wicket for 16. Bowling coming on now, and he's a wicket-taking bowler, loves the game, just salivates when we talk about this form of the cricket. And he's one of the better bowlers and would be looking as a vice-captain to try and pick up a wicket very much now. Ball's punched away, but no timing in the shot away on the onside, and there's no run. Good crowd here, not, but plenty of time as the sunshine decides to peep through. I hope we get a little bit of a sting in the sun. I'm not sure it's all that hot at the moment. I don't think hot's the word we could use in a sentence, could we?
I think we were looking at a top of around 22 locally today. Let's just check in with the bomb app. Currently 15, so we're making advances towards that mark. A little warmer tomorrow, Peter, as we scroll ahead to a max of 25 degrees.
25's good. Next ball from the bowling of Meek is hit down the ground in the air, and there's a catch down there, is there not? Or just fielding down there was good. It was hit hard and high. From where we were looking, fieldsmen running from all different directions, but the ball was struck with gusto, and it's 2 for 74 at the end of the 11th. Hopefully we'll get a replay of that shot, because the ball disappearing away from my right. And Meek walking away at the end of the over. 2 for 74 with the men out. Mace on 16 and Keeble was out without scoring.
So EV2 cricket so far have used 5 bowlers in this opening session this morning. Sipple, Fernandez, Wood, Short, who's going to continue and complete his 4 over stint here in front of us, and Damien Meek as well. So whether Andrew Kratzman decides to go back to some of those earlier options, or maybe someone fresh on the scene. There's a bit of gamesmanship there from Short as he just trotted through after letting the ball go with a hand in the air, signalling the potential of a wicket there, maybe just to try and deter the umpire's attention away from the fact that it might have been a little bit wide outside off stump.
Well, there's a lot of chin wagging going on there, which is fine. That's all good. Message getting across as we see one of the umpires have to come in and now and resurrect the castle, because the bails were removed with that attempted stumping dismissal, and now we're back to action with an A.
Nice work on the ring there.
The guy who just walked past our commentary box, I think he's the guy we're going to interview. But he's not looking as if he's coming back this way.
Okay. Just keep on pushing through for the time being. It's taken in the ring there. I reckon Damien Meek will be your man. He's got around nicely to get his hands around the ball. And a third breakthrough for EV2 Cricket, as they have removed the dangerous Brown for 44 from his 42 deliveries. And Short continues to be the provider of joy and fortune for EV2 Cricket, now into his fourth over. Has picked up a third scalp. Been quite the impressive spell so far, Walshy.
It has. It has, and we've got little pen portraits of the respective cricketers, and we don't get a lot of detail, but enough. And it's not like there's been a book written about the performance of the bowling of Short, but he's picked up 3 wickets so far. 11 and 12 are the two men coming out with their figures or their numbers emblazoned on their very impressive colours. And the game has swung around completely at none for 47. It's now 3 for 75, and we are in the 12th of 20 overs. And this has been a very good performance, a good fighting performance, considering that they were under pump, under the pressure of some pretty attacking batting early in the piece.
So Glenn Spencer is the new man at the wicket. He'll face up and have a look at his first delivery here, as he's using a bit of width outside the off stump to push the ball down towards the man at long off for a single. So the score is 3 for 75. Almost through 12 completed overs. This will wrap up the spell of John Short, who has really made an impact on that scoreboard since coming into the attack. 3 for 13 from his 3.4 overs so far. A foolish ball which angles back in, the outswing which reverses back into the left-handed Sharp, who's pushing down the ground for another single. 3 for 76. Looks like we've got our Wasp back on the NV Play overlays again today, Peter. Now, presuming that's predicting the final tally at the end of 20 today, as opposed to the winning percentage. So 148. As we get through 12 completed overs now at the Mildura Senior College, score is 3 for 76. Just quickly around the grounds again at Chafee Park in Merbeen, the Australian Pavilion, 3 for 99 in the 14th over. And out the back on Mildura Senior College, number 2. Big score in prospect for Team Thunder, who are 4 for 118 now. Almost at the end of 14 overs.
And the good thing about it is, because of your abilities to work on that computer, which groans when I look at it, and it says does not compute, but we're giving the scores out to you so that you're aware as to what's going on. And if you're driving around where all of the grounds are pretty close to one another, what you can do is you can make a decision as to where you'd like to go to see what is happening. This one, a good place to be. This is at the Mildura Senior College Oval. And what they're doing is they're providing us with a good game of cricket at 3 for 75. It's now 3 for 76. And yeah, it's, what are we up to? We're into the 13th over.
Will Moggs into the attack from the school end. Bowling his off spin around the wicket. Left-handed Sharp, who just takes him down ground for another single. So no real sign of intent yet from the Saxon Kings skipper. He's happy just to tick over the singles for the time being.
I wonder what these blokes will do with their tops when they head back to their respective home fronts. Wear it to the supermarket with their wife when they're shopping. Will that happen?
Might become a bit of a training shirt during the week, I'd reckon, Walshy.
Yep. Yeah, I reckon that might be the way to go. Nice and bright, aren't they?
As I said, though, got a real Adelaide Strikers vibe about them, I reckon. They're that electric blue.
Yep.
Oh, that has turned quite appreciably there from Moggs, coming a long way back from outside the off stump.
Willie Moggs enjoying himself.
This time he's just angling down the leg, and Spencer can't quite make connection. And the umpire calls a leg side wide. This time the ball's down the ground to the man at mid-off on the ring. Spencer moves to 2. Sharp is 11. Score 3 for 80. Midway through this, the 13th over. Moggs really looking to try and hustle through here. This time Sharp is just anchored in the crease, unable to find a gap on the offside.
I'm looking at that profile of Willie Moggs. Since I could walk, cricket has been my go-to, like a blue heeler chasing all day. I love that.
Really is getting some purchase from this Mildura Senior College square at the moment.
Yep. I'd say when he jumps on the scales, as that boundary is of a short ball outside the off stump, and he's dispatched, I should say, wide of mid-off into the deep, and it's through for 4. But he looks as if a decent feed would help, because he's not carrying much weight, is he?
He looks fit.
He does look very fit.
Safe to say.
3 for 84 after 13. The toss won by the EB2 cricket team, and we're Sharp on 15 and Spencer on 2. Peter Walsh and Pat Silcox here with you, and we're reckoning that 3 for 84 off 13, just 7 overs to go. Oh, gee, they'd want to be around the 150, you'd think. Is that gettable? Is that possible?
They're going to need to really launch in the third and final power play, which will get underway shortly. This looks like Ian Wood's back into the attack from the southern end now. Certainly bustled in during his opening spell. Just the 1 over, none for 12, so he'll look to play a role here through the back end of this first session. Picture perfect day locally in Mildura today. Of course, it's the AFL Grand Final public holiday Friday, but still a busy bevy of transport heading up and down the Deakin Avenue just out to the back of the oval here, Peter.
Yes, I'm reckoning people would be working out their spots for tomorrow, and hopefully those who were searching for tickets are able to find some. The two sides, of course, a massive history of football in Victoria in the VFL, with Fitzroy becoming the Brisbane Bears and now the Brisbane Lions, and Sydney becoming, well, South Melbourne initially. At the Lake Oval they played their games, and of course moving on to become the Sydney Swans, and most of their games were then on television on Sunday. And gee, the history of the two clubs as they actually played in a grand final, the last time was turn of the century, so it's a long time ago. Yeah. I wasn't there, and you were either, Pat. Well, there's a decent dive down the offside for a magnificent catch by the keeper, if you don't mind, outside the off stump. The wave and the tickle and the fly through the air, and what a catch that was. 4 for 84 on the 14th. None better than that, gloved by the man who wears the wicket-keeping gloves and did the right thing. Let's have a look at this again. Way down, or first slip. If there had been a first slip, he would have taken the catch in front of first slip. There wasn't. But Hammer Stewart gloves the ball. It slaps into his gloves. He takes the catch, and it's 4 for 84.
Yeah, that's a great result for EV Cricket as they continue to make the breakthroughs here after the drinks session. 4 for 84. Sharp remains on 15. And the new man to the crease is Phil Puller. He'll be looking to get on with the job here.
If one of our happy snappers was there to take a photo, that would have been a really good shot, a really good photo, because you had the wicketkeeper, and I'm being serious about this, he was airborne.
He was. He almost took it in front of second slip.
It was
I reckon,
extraordinary,
Peter, I'll give him
yeah.
a bit of extra credit there. This one's just edged back into the pad outside the off stump, so upon resumption, Wood really has got everything going beautifully. Run rate is starting to continue moving a little bit southward here. for the Saxon Kings. 6.22 currently, midway through this 13th over. Puller very watchful as he just knocks out onto the wicket square. So Wood, not that I want to jinx him and give him the commentator's curse, Peter, but he's a chance to get through wicket maiden here.
You've jinxed him. It's the commentator's curse.
Nothing
You can
surer.
rest assured now. Get your coloured pens out, scorers, and mark this one down as another wicket. Surely not. Call it and see what happens.
There we go. He's going to get through for a single as it goes out on the offside. Never in doubt. There's the score, 4 for 85. One more to go, the 14th. I might slip out for a moment. I think we've got a special guest, Nick Bowl-Brown, who's going to join us shortly.
Rodney Hogg in the back of the box too, having a chat. Enjoyed what he had to say last night too. He's a very funny man.
Has been to these parts a few times over the years with the old Willow Fest Australian Cricket Championships, as they were known back in the day.
Yep. Yes, he entertained last night and had many stories, of course, with zipping around the place with Shield cricket and then, of course, with the Australian team. And the sort of guy that you wanted to see bowl because he had a fair bit to offer. He was short, a little bit like, and I know this is dangerous to say, but I reckon he's a little bit like Meekie. When Meekie comes into bowl and Hoggy came into bowl, there might have been something a bit similar with the two. Now, the move by Pat has been impressive. He's moved out of the commentary box, and I'm not sure whether or not our guest is ready to move in. Well, he will in a sec now with the score at 4 for 86. Puller is 1 and Sharp is 1. Let's have a look. Sharp is 16. Puller is 1. Let's see what we're going to do. 4 for 86 now on the 14th over, a 14th of 20. And the need now is for someone to strike and strike well at 46. That's for 4 for 86. Let's have a look and see. Keeper standing up. Brilliant catch earlier on taken by Hannah Stewart. And we're about set now to welcome our guest into the commentary box, Nick Bowl-Brown, who has popped on the necessaries. Pat Simcock's working beautifully now and we're about to go. Hello, Nick. It's Peter Walsh you're talking to. It's good to have you along. How are you going?
Good, Peter. How are you?
I'm good. Now, story to tell from you too, because you've actually played for Australia, haven't you?
I did, yes.
When did that happen?
It was the 20 World Cup in South Africa.
Good memories?
Yeah, COVID.
Yeah.
Cut us short.
That's it. Happened to so many people, didn't it?
It did, yes.
So you didn't get much of a chance to explore or what?
No, 2.5 games they cancelled it straight away.
That's it. So cricket, of course, and did you get any clobber to keep so to represent Australia? That would always be handy.
Yeah, got the baggy green and the blazer and all the gear.
Excellent. Now, what's your golf like?
Terrible.
Is it? How bad? What was the last time that you were on a golf course and what damage did you do?
Last time I hit 150.
150 playing golf. Would you counted them all then?
Yeah, I counted them all. No mulligans.
Right. Yep.
And then returned the next day and did the same thing. I'm thinking that something's not right.
So what wasn't right with your health?
I was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis.
How did that happen? Did you feel crook?
Dizzy.
Dizzy? Right.
Dizzy.
One of the symptoms.
Yeah. I thought it was vertigo. But yeah, no, I couldn't drive anything. Yeah.
How long ago did this happen, Nick?
2 years ago.
And so what's been happening in your life in terms of rehabilitation, in terms of the medication and what is needed in your life now to try and work through this tough time?
I get a monthly infusion.
Which is?
A drug called Tysabri.
That is by a needle, is it?
It is, yes.
Okay. And what does that do for you?
I suppose it slows the condition down so I don't get many relapses or more lesions on the brain. And that's what it is. It's all the lesions on the brain.
How often do you have to have treatment?
Every month.
Right. So you go to a medical person, do you?
Go to a hospital, sit there for 3 hours and with a needle in my arm, and off I go.
Right. So what's the prognosis for down the track?
Oh, there is none. There's no cure for MS, unfortunately. And it depends where the lesions are on your brain to what your symptoms are like.
Look, you're being very brave to come and talk to us about what's happening in your life with the score here in this 20 over game. 4 for 93 becomes 4 for 94 with Sharp 23 and Puller on 2. Can you feel times when, uh-oh, I need medication now because I'm not all that flash with the way I am?
Well, I can't bring my medication forward or anything like that. I've just got to, last night at the function, I was standing up and I just got tired. I was about to go, so you've got to sit down.
So you've got to listen to your body.
You do.
Yeah.
You've got to learn, yeah.
Are you surrounded by good carers, good people?
Oh, yeah, my wife, she puts up with a lot. I don't have any carers. I'm not at that stage where I need one. I just got to, the heat can affect me, the cold affects me. You just got to live with it, unfortunately. But there's people with MS that are worse off than me.
What's your future? What lies ahead for you? You're being very honest with me here at this microphone. Down the track.
I don't know. I'm not allowed to drive because I collapse. Obviously, I can't work. So, those things, I suppose, just living life by life. I'm not allowed to get anything from the government for it because everything's means tested this year. Now,
How old are you, Nick?
I'm 59.
Right. Do you know of any other people, or is there any support staff around that are working through multiple sclerosis that bond together and try and work out at least some gatherings that you can pop along and say hello and share some stories?
Oh, there's MS Australia have a thing you can go along to. They also have charities, so I did the walk. My wife and friends got a team together for the MS Marathon, which was a 12-hour thing. So it was a 4-hour swim, 4-hour bike ride, 4-hour fitness.
You got through it all right?
I didn't swim, but I competed in the bike ride and the walk. But yeah, I just didn't trust myself in the pool.
Okay. You're strong enough to come to the cricket. That's got to be a big buzz for you.
Oh, cricket. Yeah, I've played cricket all my life, and I still get around it, still involved. Would love to be out there playing, but just can't do it.
But being here now and being able to talk about it and people seeing you and you're well known and that's got to be a buzz for you.
Oh, it is. Yeah, it's good to catch up with the guys I went to South Africa with, and yeah.
Does that happen often? Do you have reunions? Do you get get-togethers?
No, we don't, because we come from every state.
Yes, of course. Of course. 16 overs bowled in this game. 4 for 99 is the score. 4 for 99. And the partnership between Sharp and Puller now. They need to drag some runs out with just 4 overs remaining.
They do, yes. They started well, but it's slowed down. The bowling's tightened.
What do you think? You can become now an expert. What's a gettable total with the score at 4 for 99 and 16 down?
Oh, you want to look at least 130.
Yeah. Good start too. Brown was about the place, wasn't he?
Yeah, Brownie batted very well. Very well.
And now, where were you born?
Scotland.
Oh, Scotland. How long have you been in Australia?
What am I, 59, 58 years.
Right. And all in Mildura?
No, I'm from Melbourne, so we drove up yesterday for this. But
Isn't it wonderful?
Yeah.
It's something a bit different. Everyone's throwing themselves into it to try and get as many of the cricketers who were putting up their hands to be drafted to be playing, and that's a good thing, isn't it?
Yes, definitely.
You'll stay here for the duration of?
Yes, okay. Definitely.
Nick Bowles-Brown's our guest here behind the microphone with yours truly, Peter Walsh. Pat Silcox is with us as well. And before we let you go, because I want you to watch the last few overs, what's your message then to those who might be working through the tough times that you're working through with multiple sclerosis? What would you say?
There is help out there. Don't be afraid to ask for help.
You pick up a phone, is it as easy as that?
It is. It can be. I don't do it personally, but I've got very good support staff, friends, and all that around me. So
Yes.
I don't have to go out and ring, but there is people you can speak to about it.
Right. And the medication that you're taking, and I'm not prying or anything as such, is that going to mean more of a chance of living longer?
Well, I think it's the medication's more there to stop relapses
Yes.
and extra lesions, sharp for runs straight down the ground. But it's to stop the progression of it.
Okay, all right. Thanks for being bold enough to come up and share some time, and all the very best with you. Enjoy the rest of your cricket.
Thank you.
And hopefully the next time you get onto a golf course, you'll score better than 150.
Well, I'm back playing now.
And you're going to score better than 150?
Yep, batting happening all right. You've got to change everything because of balance and all the rest of it.
Yes.
But no, it's coming
Good to
along
hear.
nicely.
Thanks for sharing, Nick.
My pleasure.
Nick Bold-Brown joining us on our coverage of the cricket here from a magnificent spot, Mildura Senior College. Nick has left us, and Pat Silcox will be back for the duration of the 20 overs. It's now with 1 to go in the 17th, 4 for 107, which will become 4 for 108. There might have been a miss in the outfield. Ian Wood getting across quickly, the ball driven high down the ground. A bit hard from where we are to pick it up as we see a water bottle being ball onto the ground in a hurry. It has to be in a hurry too, because if you're not there, if you haven't done what's necessary in the allotted time, you cop a whack. Nick Bold-Brown jumping out and coming back in. Pat Silcox. Good story from Nick. When I say good story, I mean he's suffering from multiple sclerosis, but then that tour to South Africa, and of course we had COVID, so they didn't see as much of the tour as they would have liked, and he's working through some tough times. And for anybody who's working through any tough times, look, I think the most important thing, the messages that we're trying to get across, Pat, is that talk to someone if you can.
Yep, it's important, isn't it? Now, Nick played a bit of cricket in South Australia, would I be right in saying? Was he a Glenelg man back in the day? Yeah, the name certainly rings a bell as we see a maximum from the blade there of the Saxon Kings, who have just lost their way a little bit in this second part of the innings, overs 10 through 20. But this time it's Phil Puller, I think, who's gone all the way down the ground and hit the ball out into the car park there. So much needed maximum. Score is 4 for 114 now in this, the 18th over.
Yes, handy too to get that big six. Now, the big sign's going to be around somewhere. Can you see the sign?
There's one out there on the Deakin Avenue side of the ground. There's also another one just adjacent to us here on the broadcast position, which is, as the batsman striking up at the moment, is probably backward a point.
Yep.
But certainly would be in vogue on the onside for the left-hander.
Well, I can see it now. It was behind a pillar that I've got. And if you hit it, you get $1 or $2 in the pocket.
Yes, I think it's somewhere up around 25,000, they tell me. Hit me for sixth.
Hit me with your rhythm stick. Hit me, hit me.
One of our great sponsors, of course, Sixt, have been ferrying the teams around from venue to venue over the last week or so, the Spirit of Cricket Festivale. So Sharp has got himself now to 30 from 30 deliveries, so he's been solid, the skipper. Now he has the platform to try and really launch here at the back end of this third power play. Ball turn out into the onside. They'll pick up more runs. We said at the start, Walshy, 150, 160, but at this stage, I'd reckon 140 would be a pretty good score for me, wouldn't it?
Yeah, those other games we'll keep you posted too with Australian Pavilion. They were after 14, they're playing the Sandgropers 3 for 99, but that of course will have changed. Team Thunder similarly were 4 for 118 against Spot On, and what we'll do is we'll update those scores for you as we get towards the conclusion of the 20 overs here, because you need to know what's going on. You need to work out the table, and I'm sure all of those that are playing are aware as to what the other results are. It's a nice little dab behind point. Good shot off the front foot there. Just tapped away with no real power in the shot. Now, what have you got for us? What have you found? You've gleaned some information there, Pat.
Okay, so at Chafee Park in Merbein into the 19th over. The Australian Pavilion of 5 for 132. Richard Gabb leading the way there for the Australians with 80 from 52.
Oh, really?
At the
80?
top of the innings.
The Gabmobile.
Yep, he continues to churn them out, so he's going to be the key man for Australian Pavilion, you'd feel. And in our other game behind us here at Mildura Senior College number 2, almost complete. Score is 6 for 196 with 1 ball remaining.
6 for 196. Wowzers.
169.
I'm sorry. That's all right.
I can tell you that Simon Niche, though, was run out for 103 from 57 deliveries with 11 boundaries and 5 maximums.
11 fours and 5 sixes.
And he's 103 from 57. 6 for 169, almost complete over the back at the Mildura Senior College number 2.
That's extraordinary, that amount of runs, isn't it not?
That ground's just a little smaller here than the front ground. Always a very good batting surface there, and it's proven to be so once again. As we have a wicket fall here on Mildura Senior College number 1, as it will be the left-handed sharp who has to make way. And that's a great start to this 19th over for EV2 cricket, as we see Sipple returning and just pushing a quicker pace delivery through the left-handed sharp and taking the zing bails from the top of the stumps. So once again, we get another closer look there. So 5 for 118 now, start of this 18th over. And our new man is the 13, Chris Stacey, who'll come out to join Phil Puller at the crease. So the run rate 6.5 and over with 1.5 overs remaining.
And just if you wouldn't mind, please, that score you gave us earlier on regarding Simon Niche, could you repeat that for those that were thinking to themselves, excuse me, what sort of a score is that off 22 overs, if you don't mind, 20? Wow, that is just monstrous.
103 from 57.
11 fours and 5 sixes. Come on, have a go out there, will you? Don't just tap and run. That is monstrous. That is magnificent. You know, in the cricket that we've been watching for the first week of the Tri-Nations and in this one, we hadn't seen a century, but you wouldn't have thought we'd get one in the 2020 game.
This ball's fired back at Sipple, who gets a boot on that, but it squirts out to the man who's had to come in off the boundary at deep mid-wicket, so the Kings will get back for 2. So Ash Sipple a little bit unfortunate there. Stacey opens his account and the score now 5 for 120.
We're ducking for cover in that match with 11 fours and 5 sixes. So 16 of the scoring shots resulting in a 4 or a 6. That is brilliant.
Ball hit out into the onside again by Stacey. So he moves to 3, 5 for 121. Sipple just looking to really hustle through here. Short into the pitch, and Puller's unable to deal with it really outside the off stump. So just the 3 runs so far from the over. Will be 1 to follow to finish this up for 20 here. As I'm sure the umpires are having a keen look at their watches. They've got 80 minutes to get this session in, and if we did start right on the money at 10 o'clock, I reckon they've got 3 minutes to bowl this final over while
Better hurry.
local time is 11:17.
Yeah. Just on Simon Niche, currently playing for the New South Wales Blues over 50s, an aggressive right-hand batsman, left-arm fast and athletic fielder. It wraps him up in a nice little package, and he becomes the first and maybe the last for scoring 100 in such short time. And let's consider the fact that the outfields are the same at all the venues. It's not like one's a very small ground and one's a very big ground. But that is a monstrous performance, and well played to Simon Niche.
Of course, he got a little bit of an injury leading into the final of the Tri-Series, unable to take his place here at the MSC, that Australia versus Australia Ray finale. He's bounced back strongly today, as it's Damien Meek from the southern end. He's going to bowl the final over of this Saxon Kings innings. So he does well to field from his own bowling and just restrict that one to the single.
We should mention too, Pat, and you're right across the rule book. I actually think you wrote the rule book, which is a big job on your behalf. The fact is that you don't take too much time because you get pinged and penalised if you do.
Yes, well, just the 80 minutes allotted for each innings. And it certainly looked early. EV2 cricket were going to be in some danger of having to drop a fieldsman off in those last couple of overs, but they've managed to come back nicely as the ball's heaved away out towards the forward square leg boundary, and we'll go all the way for 4. And there's Peter Walsh points to our screen. There's one of our hit me for 6 signs out there. Of course, needs to be on the full, so it was in reasonably close proximity that time from Stacey. It's a good chase out there for McFadden. He's had to go all the way out to the big fence out on Deakin Avenue out there.
I reckon we should hire a few locals to be out near that sign, and if the ball's hit in the air, to move the sign, pull it out of the ground and run around to where the ball's going to hit. Is that legal?
I like the sound of it. Brings a lot of theatre into the contest. Not sure that Anthony Telfer would be really entertaining.
We wouldn't tell
that
Telfer.
thought.
No, we wouldn't tell him. We'd make sure he's talking to someone else when that happens.
Ball's hit out towards backward point. They'll get through for 2. Full of length delivery that time from Meek. So Stacey certainly doing a nice job here. He's 9 from 5. Puller has 19 from 17. And with 3 balls remaining, current score 5 for 129.
Yes, it'll be between 130 and 140. Well, that's pretty obvious from here. But a couple of boundaries and one over the top as the Meek man is in. And he bowls a full toss outside the off stump, and it goes through to the keeper on the bounce. As I mentioned, Rodney Hogg was in the back of the box earlier on, just drifting across and saying hello. Spoke very well, as is always his want, as of yesterday, telling some good stories. And Dougie Walters will be along. I think Doug's coming at the end of the tournament. He's coming along to all the functions, but to have a bit of a chat, and it'd be good to be able to talk to him. 2 to go, 2 balls left in this innings. And a single off the second last delivery is pushed away on the offside for 1. 5 for 130 now with Puller on 19 and Stacey on 10. When this last ball is bowled, Pat Silcox will give us a run through of the scorecard and check the other scores with that magnificent performance by Simon Nish, getting 103 off 87 deliveries, 11 fours and a few big sixes. 5 of them actually, that's not bad.
Good finish by Meek. Bowls it into the pitch, and Puller unable to really make connection with it there as he just pushes it back down into the wicket square. So at the completion of their 20 overs, right on time too, Saxon Kings finishing at 5 for 131. First man out today was Stephen Mace, bowled short for 16. Cablay caught Moggs, bowled short, no score. And Brown was out bowled short for 43. Sharp, the skipper, bowled Ashley Sipple for 32. And Spencer was caught Stewart, bowled Wood for 2. So Puller was not out, 19 from 17. Stacey 10 from 7. And it's 5 for 131 at the end of their 20 overs. Quick run through the bowling figures. And Short really did the job, didn't he, for EV2 cricket. 4 overs, no maiden, 3 for 14. Sipple picking up 1 for 22. And Wood also a wicket, 1 for 30 from his 4 overs. So 1-3-2 will be required for victory in the second session of this first T20 game by EV2 Cricket, who of course won the toss earlier this morning, Peter Walsh, and decided to have a field first. As we quickly go around the grounds, as it were. At a Chafee Park Merbein Australian Pavilion, finished at 5 for 146 from their allotted 20 overs. The Sandgropers needing 147 from 20 overs at 7.35 per over to win. Leading the way with the bat for Australian Pavilion was Richard Gabb, finishing with 80 from 52 deliveries, 9 boundaries and 2 maximums. Kieran O'Connell was not out, 21 from 13 at the end of the innings. 2 wickets apiece for Budalik and Warren. As we return back to the competition central, and it was spot-on strikers who bowled first. Team Thunder getting to 6 for 173 at the end of their allotted 20 overs. And we've got a revised tally there for Simon Nish, interestingly on the scorecard there, Peter, of 45. So I'm not sure, we might have to do a little bit of digging around at the break of innings here just to get that confirmed. But it looks as if Waddington 59 from 36, Nish 45 from 23, and Wyeth 40 from 35. So all three of those men featuring prominently in the Tri-Series we've just seen played out here locally in Mildura. 6 for 173, so we might have potentially jumped the gun on the niche 100, but still 45 from 23 is bloody good going.
It is, and let's be realistic now. We're punching these scores out with the scores that we're getting. It's not that we're making them up as we go along, but it looks as if there could have been a change. We'll have to wait and see now what the situation is, but that score is still an imposing 6 for 173, and we'll confirm as to what the situation is with Simon Niche and the other player who got 59, Waddington, but we'll see what the situation is. But we know what it is here. It's 5 for 131 off 20. And that target now will get sorted as we've got looks like a team meeting and a presentation. It looks like it's going to take place with the side that is being looked after now. What are they doing out there?
Bit of a photo there for the boys as we have this innings break. So what we might do, Walsh, is have a quick breather, a drink or two, and we'll come back for the second session shortly here at the Mildura Senior College. Just about to resume for our second session here at the Mildura Senior College as EV2 Cricket get ready to chase down this target of 132 as set by the Saxon Kings. Our opening batsmen are Mark Little and Ashley Sipple. And it looks like Guy Randell will take up the attack from the southern end. Pat Silcox alongside of Peter Walsh, and this is going to be a keenly contested game between these two here. And wickets the key early for the Saxon Kings.
Absolutely, Pat. Glorious day too. Glorious day. And I've got to be very careful about how I pass on the next story. But went for a sip of water just to continue the rehydration during the break-in innings with that score of 5 for 131. And a lot of discussion taking place with the change rooms away from where we are. And there is a wicket already. Is there what?
Yeah, Mark Little was looking to try and swing the ball around into the onside there, and all he managed to do was sky it high into the air. And Guy Randell has managed to get the job done there. As we await just the MV player to catch up the details there. I might get a replay of that one shortly to see who was the man inside the ring to take the all-important scalp. But Randell, it's Puller, looks to be our man who's taken the catch. So nice bit of work from Phil Puller, who was, of course, important at the back end of the innings too for the Kings. As it looks like it's going to be Andrew Kratzman who will be our next man in at number 3. So disappointing start to the T20s for Mark Little.
Absolutely. 5 for 131 is the target that they will be chasing, and they're 1 for a duck egg. And they better hurry up and get their new batter out there, because we talked about the 80 minutes of time that you've got, and the skipper now jumps over the rope and heads out into the middle. And we should just relate to the story that we've got. Initially, we were told that Simon Nish got 103 off 57 deliveries with 11 fours and 5 sixes. Now, I hope that you can understand that we're relying on information that's being punched out to us on a computer. Now, we haven't been told anything different until the break-in innings, when I went for a wander and was met by people who were saying he did definitely get 100. We were told on the second occasion, no, it was only 50. But now we're being told that he did get 106 with 11 fours and 5 sixes. And I'll go with that confirmation too, because there was a change in the information that was passed on. And we tell you what we get. And if that's changed, and it was certainly changed, the fact of the matter is it's been confirmed that he got 106, and well played to Simon Nish. 106 with 63 deliveries has he got there. 11 fours and 5 sixes. So well done to him.
I think what we may have seen happen there, Walshy, was the fact that I think 60 of his runs were apportioned to Simon Waddington there at some stage, with a bit of confusion on the scorebooks. But now it's looking pretty current there at 106 from 63, and Jared Wyeth was 37, not out from 31 deliveries right at the very end. But here it's 1 for 1. And this, the opening over, Guy Randell doing a really exquisite job here for the Saxon Kings as they look to make these early breakthroughs. Kratzman is 1. Sipple has yet to open his account. He's now turning the ball out to the man at deep mid-wicket. So, of course, 3 men outside the circle in this opening power play, which will take us up until the end of the 6th over. So there is opportunities to go aerial, find some space in this Mildura Senior College outfield, which is looking fantastic, bathed in sunshine this morning.
Yep, that's good. And we talk about the business of new batter at the crease taking time. Well, there's no time to take. You've got to be on the go, you've got to be moving, you've got to be pushing and shoving and working the ball through the big gaps that are about. To the other extreme, picking up an early wicket, and with the powerful Kratzman in, how much would you love to get Kratzman on a public holiday in downtown Mildura the day before a grand final? This would be a nice little kick. This would be so good for the confidence for another breakthrough.
One of the 4 men, of course, of the recent Tri-Series, Walshy. He's very consistent. Just get the feeling he'll just roll straight into his work here. And we'll have the opportunity to really open up that 360 game of his in this format of the game. As we just see some Movement of the field here from the Kings as they look to make sure they've got their 3 men outside the ring in the right areas.
And a bit of hurry and get on with their bowling too. They take a bit of time. Very cautious with his first shot then, just pushed away to short cover and there's no run.
Very round arm delivery style, isn't it, from Chris Stacey, who's in operation from the school end. As Kratzmann's forwards back, he can turn it out into the onside. Nice hustle from the keeper there. They'll get through for a single. Adam Mason doing the job behind the stumps for the Kings.
I had word through too that Simon Milton had picked up 3 stumpings where he's playing, and I'll tell you what, stats so important, and if they filter through, we'll pass them on. And this one, 5 for 131 in 20 overs. EV2 cricket playing Saxon Kings, and the score at the moment is 1 for 4. Midway through the second over. Right, left arm around the wicket. And a nudge behind square on the offside. Ground in magnificent condition. We had that heavy rain a couple of days ago, but it's good today, Pat. It's all good in here. Beautiful day.
Just greened it up a tinge, hasn't it? Bit of rain on Wednesday morning and then later in the afternoon. It got quite heavy there at one stage late in the day.
It did. Yeah, it was like someone was on top of the hotel room we're staying in too and just throwing rocks on the roof. It was making all sorts of noises.
Bit of hesitation, but they'll get through. Bit of pressure on Stacey. Can't collect cleanly at ground level, so good running there from EV2 cricket. Score is now 1 for 5 at the completion of 2. Sipple is 2. Kratzmann is 3. Target is 132 to win.
Should mention too that a couple of days of cricket and 2 games on each day. We've got 2 here and then 2 at the other venues that are being looked at. And also pleasing to report that if there is any inclement weather, they'll play on a hard wicket, because that's what the spirit of cricket is all about. We come here to play cricket. We don't come here to sit and watch and play cards. We come here to play cricket.
So Randell gets set to move through into his second over here from the southern end. It's a nice angle into the left-handed Sipple. Pushes out towards mid-wicket. Will pick up the run.
Interesting concept too, because if you look at Andrew Kratzmann, 84, 17, 45 not out, 61 not out. He got runs so consistently in the tri-series, but this is a totally different concept. Totally different. He can't push and prod and not get runs. In this one, he has to get runs and get them quickly.
Hitting a foolish delivery down the ground. I'll get back for a couple. See the ball coming in from the deep. Kratzmann 5, Sipple is 3. Not quite the aggressive opening we saw from Gavin Brown this morning, the first session.
No, he looked as if he knew exactly what he wanted to do and he achieved the purpose. Didn't quite get to a half century.
Randell buoyant about an LBW decision as he's following through down towards the batsman.
So some good matches going on away from where we are. We'll continue to give you scores. Just repeating the confirmation that Niche did get a century. We had a few speed wobbles with our stats, but we gave you what we got and eventually we were able to confirm that he got the 100, which is good. That's a good shot down the ground too, just lofted elegantly by Kratzmann, just a flick at the wrist and away it sped down to the fence for 4.
Yeah, the Kings only having a man on the ring there at mid-on, so there was plenty of room straight down at long on for Kratzmann to cash in on, so he's quickly advanced along there to 9 from 8. Sipple is 3 from 6. And EV2 Cricket going along at 4.5 with a rate required of 6.92 to hit that target of 132 for their first victory of this Global Spirit of Cricket Festivale T20 competition. So that one's going outside the off. I'm not sure that Kratzmann was that enamored by the umpire's decision.
No,
There was
he
no
wasn't.
wide call there.
No, he even stretched the bat out, and he's a tall man, but no, the umpire said, I'm not going to do anything, and if I do, you'll be the first to know.
Ball that to the deep cover boundary. They'll pick up another single. So that's the end of 3 overs. 1 for 13 EV2 Cricket with Kratzmann 10 from 10, Sipple 3 from 6, and a pretty tidy start from Guy Randell, who's coming in from that southern end at the moment, has picked up the wicket to 4, which was Mark Little. Caught Puller bowled Randall for no score. Fuller wicket was at 0, so this partnership is worth 13, and no doubt for EV2 Cricket, they'll be hoping that it's going to be worth a lot more as they move through the back end of this opening power play.
I mentioned too of the chat we had with Nick Bowl-Brown, who was an Australian player who went to South Africa, but unfortunately we had the COVID in the early 2020s. Plays his golf and has been diagnosed with multiple sclerosis and is working through some tough times with regular treatment. Back to that in a sec as the first ball of the next over pulled away on the onside out towards backward square for a single. The ball running along the ground all the way. And it'll be picked up out there by Randell. It's 1 for 13, becomes 1 for 14. And he was talking about having to have medication to try and keep things under control. And the message so elegantly passed on by Nick was talk about it with other people. Share your moments of anguish and trouble. But most importantly, and this is what the spirit of cricket is all about, keep communicating. And there's no easy end to something that he's experiencing and enduring, as apart from enjoying not, but keep talking about it.
So Chris Stacey is the other man of this opening rotation for the Saxon Kings. Very measured the way he goes about his field placings. Ball now to Sipple. Quick through the air. Sipple is hitting out into the covers on the ring. Just to pick up another single. Kratzmann is elevating down the ground, taking a liking once again to that long on position. They'll turn and come back for a couple. So Andrew really looking to take advantage of just the 3 men outside the restrictive fielding circles in this first power play. He's moved to 13 now from 12 and the score 1 for 17.
And just a little bit more on Ashley Sipple. Played Queensland First Division over 50s at the Nationals last year, and Australia over 50s Tour of New Zealand in February. So he's got some experience as well. He's at the non-strikers end for Kratzmann, who waits and works it behind square on the onside for an easy single. And the man who did the fielding did it very well, but he hasn't got a number on his back.
Oh.
So I can't give him too much credit. We'll sort that out, but we'll wait until the end of the next over. 1 for 18 in the 4th over. Sipple is 4, Kratzmann is 14. And this ball pushed back down the ground on the offside. Good strong bowling, tidy bowling. They're right on line, aren't they?
Yeah, they've made a very, very good start. Early breakthrough. Keeping that run rate down below 5. This first power play. Sipple hits out towards backward square. Man is out on the boundary. As fortunately Sipple will lose his footing. The non-strikers end with a chance of 2 to be had. End of the 4th over. The score is 1 for 19 EV2 Cricket. Chasing the target set by the Saxon Kings this morning, 132. Partnership is 19 from 22 balls in 13 minutes.
Now, when you think about how many Run rate required already to 7 per over, 1 down, 20 overs to be bowled, 45 in the tri-series that's recently concluded, but just 20 in this, so they've got 112 runs still required, and we're starting the 5th over, so the target is a pretty healthy one, as I said, over 7 per over. And who are we going to see bowl now? I think we're going to see, let's not pretend, Guy Randall again in. Tossed up and pushed away down the onside. Kratzmann and Sipple, the two. Kratzmann, of course, whenever he comes to the crease, the expectations are that he's going to be around for a while. And no exception for where he's at the moment, with 14 off 13, and in the 5th over, it's 1 for 19. This ball over pitched and Sipple drives up to mid-on and there's no run. Well, they just have to work out it's like walking around with a computer in your brain to know how important it is, how many runs we need per over, how many, etc. And this ball hit in the air and out on the boundary line. But that's a big call out there, because it was Phil Puller who took the ball, but then he was over the ropes.
Yeah, we've moved them in a little, haven't we, since the tri-series, 55 metres. Looked like it was all set to be a pretty comfortable catch from Phil Puller. He did take it safely, but obviously just lost his bearings. We'll get a decent look at this one as he steps over comfortably in the end over the rope, and was quick to let the umpire know that it had gone for a maximum. So Sipple advances his tally to 11, Kratzmann 14, and EB2 Cricket 1 for 26 midway through this 5th over.
He was very, very quick to say, no, look, I took the ball, but then stood over the ropes, which you can't do, and the 6 was then clearly indicated by the umpire. This ball turned around the corner. They go quickly for a single, a poor return. Now, if there had have been something that was a little better in the throwback from Sharp, there might have been a possibility of a run out, but the wicketkeeper had to move away too quickly.
It's a good pick up by the skipper, but his throw just not quite where it needed to be over the top of the stumps. So you just get the feeling a little bit more intent being shown now by EV2 Cricket. So they'll have to try and pick up a couple more boundaries before the end of this opening power play, which will conclude at the end of 6 overs. Randell is just making adjustments to his men deep at long off and long on. Foolish length ball is played out into the offside. As Tom Sharp is tidy. Restricts the chance of a single, so at the end of 5 overs, EV2 Cricket 1 for 26, Kratzmann 14 from 14, and Sipple is 12 from 14. Current run rate is 5.20, Walshy.
And you multiply the 1 for 26 by 4, because 5 overs have been bowled, and you go 4 times 26 is 104. But that's, of course, if they stayed with their current run rate, which won't happen. They're needing 106 off 15 overs at 7 per over. And I think the key in all this, not so much the overs, but how many wickets are left. And Kratzmann's out there at the moment on 14 and getting some good support from Sipple. He's out there at the moment in double figures as well. The target is 5 for 131 to win the game and to go into their second game, which is later today, and work out for points, because that's what it's all about, gathering momentum and gathering points. Mentioning earlier on, Nish got 106. And who's not surprised? Gab got 80. This man just continues to score runs and loves his game of cricket. He's about the place. He's a very good guy to talk to. He knows the stuff, and yeah, it was good that he started off this series and started off from where he left off with the Tri-Nation series, accumulating runs, Pat.
And pretty much, Peters. So we'll get the chance shortly to have a look around the grounds as we just wait on some more field adjustments from the skipper Sharp. At Chafee Park in Merbeen, Sandgropers are currently 2 for 40 in the 5th over as they chase down the score of 5 for 146. So a further 107 required from 14.4 overs at 7.3 per over. And out behind us at Mildura Senior College 2. We'll get to that shortly. As Kratzman is swinging around to the man at deep mid-wicket for another single. Spot on strikers are 2 for 22. Almost the end of the opening power play. 5.4 overs gone there, so they're chasing the target set by Team Thunder of 174. So 152 to win from 14.2 overs. 10.6
Oh dear.
is quite lofty, isn't it, with 8 wickets remaining in the shed?
Well, we had a few people asking us about who we thought were favourites, and I said, well, you can ask Pat if you like, because I've got absolutely no idea. If you're going into a competition where all of the teams, I can say this with surety, none of them have met all of their team members face to face. They might have met them on Zooms or something as such, but you're just not sure when someone's walking out and you think, oh, who's he? Oh, he plays for me. Of course, they know who they are, but it's a different one.
Sipple is taking on the man inside the ring on the offside. The throw is going to get past the bowler, so they'll end up picking up a second there, EV2 cricket. So advancing their score now to 1 for 30. And this is the 6th over. I guess, Walsh, it'd be more of a case of we'll have a look at the play in the 2 games this morning and this afternoon. We'll get a bit more of a feel then, I think, as to who the teams to look out for will be.
No, I think that's the way to go. This ball is bowled from around the wicket and punched away on the offside to cover, and there's no run. There's no shortage of cricket, so we'll stay here all day and then move into the night if you like. Turn the lights on and keep going.
I think we've got some NRL a little bit later on this evening. Maybe you can watch that on the big screen.
Yep.
The ball's picked up and turned around the corner. That's the man there, a deep backward square. Good hustle between the wickets. We'll see Sipple get back for a second. Going to go for 4, is it?
No. I think they ran the extra run because there was a bit of an overthrow.
Okay.
I'm just watching to see what did happen. I reckon they might have crept through for the extra run. It's 1 for 33 now.
Sipple 18 from 19. Kratzman 15 from 15. So they've got that rate now, 5.5 per over. So solid base. Haven't really gone out all guns blazing, but they're looking to really get things rolling now. You'd expect through the second power play, Walshy.
And also, very, very important what we've just seen here. For those that are at the cricket, please hydrate. Take some water, because the man out there in the middle was Kratzman, and he called for some water. The water bottle came out. Looked like he had his private thermos, but he sorted that out, had a slurp. It might not feel that hot, but the old hydration is the way to go. How's that? I preached about that quite well, didn't I?
You did. I just took a drink myself. Maybe
So
you
I'm
can
just
do the same.
As he's interesting. Meek's just walked past with the pads on. Damien Meek with the pads on. I'm just wondering. What do you think?
He may be coming in at number 4, Pete. We'll have a look shortly. Obviously at the fall of the next wicket. So new bowler into the system here for the Saxon Kings. Looks to be Anthony Wilkes.
And that's a good shot off the back foot. Smashed out through the vacant cover area. And it rolls along to where you can see the sign there, the orange blob. It's like a big orange that they've picked from. Where would you get an orange from here? Well, just about everywhere, wouldn't you?
Yes. Yep.
Score will flick over in a sec.
What is cramping up Sipple a little, but he's able to just knock it down into the offside. We'll pick up another single, so we'd be thinking 1 for 38, I reckon. 6.2 gone. There we go. So would you say that Wilkes is almost off the wrong foot, Maxie Walker style from that southern end? Just have a close look at the action.
Yes. The old Tangles, what a guy he was, what a player. Of course, played Australian rules football with Melbourne, and then was a wonderful cricketer for Australia. Used to love seeing him bowl, and just a big smile. He was on Wide World of Sport for a long time with Channel 9, and they had all those books out, you know, how to feed chooks when they're standing upside down or whatever.
True character.
Oh, yeah.
Australian sport, Maxie Walker.
Yeah, we've got to be careful about when you're talking to someone who's no longer with us, but I was actually driving through Ballarat and I got a phone call and they said, would you mind popping into the local studio? And I said, well, I'm on the way to Melbourne. Yeah, but we want you to talk about Max Walker. I didn't know what they were talking about. And I said, well, what do I have to talk about Max Walker for? And they said, didn't you know he's passed away? And my understanding of it is this has lapped around the corner on the onside, or tried to, and it's come off the leading edge and gone down on the offside. My understanding was, and I'll just check this out, I'll make sure it's okay, was that he didn't want people to know that he wasn't well. And I sat down and then I read something off whatever it was then in those days. I think you sent faxes through to each of them about the passing of Max and what a wonderful person he was.
Sipple is hitting out towards the long on boundary there, timing it nicely. Picks up a single, so that will see us through 7 completed overs now in this second session. EV2 cricket are 1 for 40. Sipple is 23 from 22. Kratzmann 16 from 18, and Anthony Wilkes getting through his first over with the figures of none for 6.
Blues look good. I like the colour. And I also should mention, here we are talking about men's health, but blue is the prostate cancer colour. And of course, for those that need to be checked, the check is simple. It's a blood test now. Nothing more invasive. It's just a blood test. And I can speak from experience because that's what I'm working through. And the whole deal about it is talk about it. Talk with people, get their thoughts and get their support. And most people are very, very keen to do just that. And we have a get-together of lunch. Johnny Letts, David Parkin, Sammy Newman's another one. Ted Whitten, unfortunately, we lost Ted at 62 years of age, who never, ever got tested. At 62, he passed away. So, message is simple. Go along and see your urologist and get sorted out. And at least know where you are and you'll feel better about it, as was the case now with a good drive off the front foot out towards the cover boundary. That's a good shot from Sipple. He's doing well. He's actually surpassed Kratzmann out there at 29 off 24, and it's 1 for, is that right, that score 46 in the 8th over.
Just building steadily, isn't he? Ash just playing really nice cricket shots. Not necessarily going the long handle or trying to advance the bowling. Just finding the gaps and using great timing. So that run rate now at 6.27. The required rate is 6.79, so got it to a spot where they're pretty comfortable with at the moment, as this time Sipple's trying to heave one into the onside. Fast to make contact. Goes through into the keeper Adam Mason's gloves. So 6 runs from the Stacey overs so far. So he's bowling it into the pitch. The ball's hit out into the ring, and the catch is going to be taken, I reckon, there by the skipper, Andrew Sharp. So just as I said that Ash Sipple really wasn't going the long handle or taking too many risks, made me look like a bit of a goose, and he's now on his way for 29. Caught Sharp bowled Stacey for 26 deliveries. And an important second breakthrough, Walshy, for the Saxon Kings.
Very much so, yep. And we made mention of, well, I did anyway, made mention of the fact that Meek had the pads on, but it won't be he who's going out to bat now. It looks like that's Matt Harris, who will be the next batter in. And that ball in the air off a bit of a leading edge. It sailed in the air. Good catch too, good outfield catch. A few that have gone missing as far as earlier on in the day when the score of 131 for 5 was mentioned. That's 2 for 46 in the 8th over.
Just observing Telf walking past us there. He looks like he's gone into the reverse spirit of cricket strip. He's gone with a predominantly black kit with a hint of yellow, where generally it's always the yellow with a splash of black. He's right in front of you there, Walshy.
Oh, I can see him, yes.
Yeah.
It got a bit of New Zealand about him. I reckon he's picked that up from someone in New Zealand that is now missing a top with number 8 on its back that's being worn by Anthony Telfer. Well, that's an important wicket too, because not only is it red ink, it's out now, that's gone, but a new batsman, and let's have to rebuild again.
Stacey doing a good job there just to get a hand on that one. It was going out across the wicket square. Harris unable to get off the mark there. Kratzmann 16 from 18. EV2 cricket 2 for 46. Almost through 8 overs here at the Mildura Senior College in the second session. That one is going past the outside edge of the Harris bat and through to the keeper. So a good finish there from Chris Stacey. It was a little expensive at the start of the over, but tightened things right up and took a wicket as well, Peter.
2 for 46. Oh, it's a tight game. Interesting if you look at the comparisons. We had a 1 for 47 and a 2 for 47. And in this game now, it's 2 for 46, so very close. What have we got? You've got the other scores coming through in your way there, Pat?
That I have. Chafey Park, Merbeens, Sandgropers 3 for 52 on the 8th over, chasing down a target of 147, so they need a further 95 from 11.5 overs with a run rate of 8.03. And out behind us at Mildura Senior College number 2, as we see an edge off the bat there of Kratzman, and a third EV2 cricket wicket has fallen.
Well, a big blow that is, if you don't mind.
Kratzman departs court. Mason bowled Wilkes for 16 from 19, so now 2 fresh men at the crease for the EV2 crew. And they just need to now go through a bit of a period of transition and rebuild as we watch the replay here as Wilkes just doing a little off the pitch, and it was a sharp piece of work behind the stumps by the wicketkeeper, who made no mistake of that one, Adam Mason. So we now see the new man coming out to the crease. Looks like John Short is our man in the number 11. Just quickly round out those other scores, Walshy. Out the back at Mildura Senior College number 2. Spot on strikers after 9 overs, a 4 for 36, chasing a target of 174. So strikers have sound like they've got themselves a real task at hand there.
They're in big bother. And so too are those that are chasing runs in this particular match at this particular venue, with 3 down now. The batsman out, Kratzman, for 16. And he faced 19 deliveries, but he is back in the shed, and the skipper now will have to have a good ponder about where we're at doing the chasing and who's going to get the runs in the required overs that are left.
Short is going to open his account there just behind point as they scurried through for the single. 3 for 47 in this, the 9th over. And rate's just slid backwards a fraction here to 5.64, so that differential between current and required has just blown out a little. Our second game here at the Mildura Senior College today. We'll see the Sandgropers taking on the RJR All-Stars. So Wilkes is bowling a nice full length outside the off stump, and Harris is unable to deal with that.
I think when we spoke about Meek having the pads on, well, he's still got them on, but he'll be in next because he's got his helmet on now. So he must think this wicket might be going to fall in a hurry. I don't know. But when you've got yourself focused, you don't want any interruptions, do you?
Ball is hit down the ground in the air. Pick up another single. I think Peter in my playing days always had that morbid fear of being timed out. Always wanted to make sure that I had my stuff on a good 2 batsmen before I was due to go.
Yeah.
Had that dream many, many times of waking up being timed out by not having the box or the thigh pad on in time to get out to the middle.
Well, I had one experience that I'll never forget, and I don't mind passing it on, even though you've got to be laughing at your own inabilities. I wasn't much of a cricketer, and I played for Ballarat East High School when I was going to school, and they were shy of a wicketkeeper on this particular day. Ian Berry was the guy's name, who turned up but wasn't well, and they said to me, "Would you like to put the gear on?" I said, "Yeah, that's fine." And I thought, well, I'll go out there. Well, I'm ready to go. Here we go, all good. And Gil Barnes was the bowler, and he was pretty quick. And I thought, I'm not happy with this because they were slapping into the gloves and I wasn't taking them cleanly, but I didn't have any inners on in the gloves, which were good. And then the slipper said to me, "Oh, well, you'll be okay, just in case it fizzes back outside the off stump and goes through, you'll have your protector, your box." I didn't have one of those on either.
Oh, my goodness.
No, which was fairly insensitive and fairly stupid of me. But my expertise as a keeper didn't last very long because there's a fair bit of equipment you've got to get yourself organised. No helmets in those days. Yeah, but it was pretty poor, but still. It was a good experience. And the wicket keepers, I reckon you can't make yourself a wicket keeper. You can a batsman or you can a bowler, you just keep practicing. But I reckon if you're born a wicket keeper, that's good, but you're not going to make yourself into a wicket keeper.
It's a natural talent, I think, as
Yep.
we've seen over the years.
Well, Simon Milton, 3 stumpings, that is a rarity in an innings, surely, at any level or any sort of cricket that's being played. 3, that's brilliant.
As see another bowling change at that score, Len Walsh. This looks like your man without the number on his back, so this will be interesting to see if our friends on the NV Play score bench can ascertain who our new bowler is.
Well, we'll find out eventually because it'll come up on the score. I'm sure it will.
Looks like he's going to be left arm over the wicket. Tidy enough start. Ball is taken down the ground towards long on for a single. I'll stick my neck out and say here maybe Stephen James or Gary Eisenmenger haven't sent it upgraded on the EV Play overlays just yet.
Thanks for your patience, Pat, because I'm just doing some digging on Simon Milton. Simon Milton, wicketkeeper batsman, Australian over 40s in 2023, Queensland over 50s, first grade premier in cricket in Western Australia and Queensland. Bats anywhere and exceptional up to the stumps. Well, he's proven that today with 3 stumpings, which is a magnificent performance. So congratulations, Simon. And also, here's one from Stan, the statistician again. Simon Milton, 3 stumpings, and Simon Nish a century. So the Simons do what Simon says today. And look what's happened.
Good day for the Simons today. It is Gary Eisenmenger who's bowling from the school end of the ground. Looks to be bouncy through the crease as the ball's hit down the ground to the man at long on, and catch has been taken. So another EV2 cricket scalp has been removed by the Saxon Kings, who made a really steady start to this second session. And I reckon Gavin Brown is our man down there at long on. And unfortunately for EV2 cricket, not what they were looking for, as John Short got a ball of good length, felt that he could clear the rope down the ground there, but all we managed to do was pick out the Saxon Kings opening back, Gavin Brown.
4 for 51. Wowzers, that is a big result. Now, who are we seeing going out? That looks like Moggs going to the crease, number 19. Number 9, I should say. This is a very impressive performance by the side that only got 5 for 131. Now the game tightens up 4 for 51 in the 10th over. So at the halfway mark, you'd have to say side with the ball and with the field in action are in the driver's seat.
Yeah, absolutely. Still 2 fresh men at the crease. No one's settled. So there's some work to be done here, and Eisenmenger making a pretty decent start. 1 for 2 in his first over. And our friend Damien Meek is still down below us here with the helmet on and the pads ready to go. As the Kings have things in their keeping at this point of time. This opening T20 clash as part of the Global Spirit of Cricket Festivale. We've transitioned today across from the Tri-Series 45 over format into T20 cricket. And it's Will Moggs just taking his guard and getting ready See if he can't just turn things around here for EV2 cricket. Looks like he's rocking the old Duncan Fernley there, which is a brand in the cricketing ranks that we don't see that often these
No,
days.
it's got a bit splashed all over it too.
Ball is lofted out to the man who is at backward square, who's completed the catch but has cleared the boundary rope in doing so. So it is a maximum for Moggs.
Not a bad catch either, was it?
It's a beauty. Did not have to move. It went straight down his throat. As we'll get a chance to have a look at it in replay here, as back and across. And in the one motion, going to ground, taking the catch, there was Chris Stacey. But unfortunately, unable to stay inside of the field of play. Had that been the Tri-Series, Pete, that would have been a fair collect.
Yeah, and brilliant camera work too. Our lad's doing a fine job because we saw it all happen and we saw the gathering from behind, having a look, the supporters clapping and then realising that no, the player had fallen over the ropes, and in doing so, the 6 was adjudged to have been the necessary runs for 57 at the halfway point.
We may have just snuck in our drinks break during that fall of the last wicket, I think, because the players are hustling through and getting into position once again for over number 11 now. As it looks like it's going to be Anthony Wilkes once again.
What's your gut feeling say? At halfway, 60 balls remaining, 75 runs to score and 6 wickets in hand.
I guess it's the unknown of who's in the shed to come, Peter, that makes it a little bit difficult. You sort of feel the bowling team are in a position of advantage at the halfway stage of this second session. They can ill afford to lose another wicket here, you'd reckon, EV2 cricket. As Harris is over the top and looking to try and find the gap in the offside. Lots of bit of work in the field there by the Kings. Ball is hit down the ground to the man at long on. Another single.
Really fascinating. It's like, to me, watching like a game of golf where the man with the ball is ready to bowl and the man with the bat can't hit it too far because there's a fieldsman on the boundary. And it's like an approach shot to the green. He's got to land it 20 or 30 metres shy of the green and let it roll up. Because if you hit a sweet shot with a pitching wedge or with a wedge or, say, with an iron, and you make excellent contact, you might hit it straight down the throat of the guy who's standing on the boundary. So it's a teasing moment, and yeah, it's another asset or facet of the game, which is really good, really good.
The balls are taken out onto the onside. There is a man out there, and the catch will be taken. Is it Stephen James, who's got himself positioned there at deep backward square, and another one falls for EV2 cricket. So a real cluster of wickets now, putting pressure on that lower order as we see the ball swung away by Moggs. And Stephen James did it oh so comfortably right inside the line.
He pocketed that one. The result was it came off the willow, but as we suggested, straight down the throat of the keeper. And gee, they've done well in the field, and aren't they all exuberant? That was another big wicket, another very important wicket. And we're going to see Amit go out there with the score at a very much wonky 5 for 58 in the 11th over. One of the better sides in the competition on paper, but on paper means a big fat duck egg, nothing. And so it's 5 for 58.
It's their last 4 wickets for just 12 runs. Wickets falling at 46, 46, 51 and 58. So the challenge is really being laid down now in front of EV2 cricket. Meek and Harris are now required to build a substantial partnership to get this innings back on track. 74 to win from 57 deliveries. quickly look around the grounds. Out at Chafee Park, Sandgropers 4 for 78 in the 12th, chasing 147 for victory. And at the back at Mildura Senior College, number 2, Spot On Strikers are 5 for 54 in the 14th. Leading a further 120 to win from 39 deliveries. Wilkes has been the destroyer, 2 for 10 in his third over. Not only has he been making the breakthroughs, Walshy, but he's been keeping the runs at a minimum as well.
He'd be very pleased with his performance, Mr. Wilkes. No doubt about that.
Another one taken down there at short backward square. 6th one down for EV2 cricket, Walshy.
Ripped straight behind square to the man who was fielding there and looking the goods with 74 runs off a total number of deliveries remaining at 56. But that was pitched on leg stump, and Meek, who took a long time to get himself ready, is not going to take as much time to get himself unready, if there's such a word, because he's out without scoring. Caught by Eisenmenger, Bowl Wilkes, no score. It's now 6 for 58, if you don't mind.
Yeah, I think Damien will be really disappointed. Such a big build-up for him on the sideline here. Only to last the 2 deliveries and fail to trouble the scorers as he'll just transition his way straight through into the change rooms alongside of us here at the Mildura Senior College. 6 for 58, Walshy. What a turn has come into this game now in this second session.
Well, we have to think back to the start of the day's play when Brown was out in a hurry, and as soon as he put the foot flat to the accelerator pedal, there was always that possibility of a big score. It got to 47 without any loss of any wickets, then 2 for 47, 3 for 75, and then 4 for 84. Well, the game was neutral, but it's not anymore.
As McFadden will turn that one around the corner nicely. Finds some space just inside the man there. Fielding on the ring at 45. It goes to the fine leg boundary, so a much needed boost to that EV2 cricket score at the end of 11. 6 for 62. McFadden is 4 from 1. Harris 3 from 9, and Wilkes 3 for 14 from his 3 overs.
You won't get better figures, you wouldn't think, in this sort of format in cricket. 3 for. And if we look to the left where we've got a good look at the boys in blue. They look as if they're in blue at the moment because there's not too much animation there. It's going to be very tough to dig themselves out of this hole. 6 for 62. The 11th over being bowled, or just finished. Target is 131. 70 off 54 with 4 wickets left.
Yeah, it's going to be a big ask, isn't it? Wickets in the shed rapidly diminishing. Sort of feel that this is going to be the key partnership here. Any chance of making a run through this second power play and into the third power play. Of course, 4 men at the moment permitted outside the restrictive circles. Eisenmenger bowling one that goes on with the arm and is pushed out to the cover region there outside the rim. I'll pick up a single.
See the players too that are in the fielding side clapping their hands, jumping around, plenty of chatting. Pick up a wicket, pick up a wicket, pick up another wicket. All of a sudden you're in the driver's seat and they are very, very happy and making lots of noise out there too. 6 for 63 in the 12th. 69 to win off 53. All of the big guns, the heavy hitters, are sitting down with their pads off because they're out.
Just the 2 scores in double figures so far. Sipple 29, Kratzman 16. It's a full-length delivery from Eisenmenger. Not put away this time by McFadden. Just rolls back out onto the wicket. 69 from 52. This one's straightening nicely and past the outside edge of McFadden's bat and through to the keeper. You
A
feel
lot of room to put your whole name on the back of a top two if you've got Eisenmenger there. That might be one of the reasons, do you reckon?
could be. Gives this one some air. And advancing McFadden fails to make contact. Loses his footing at the crease and ends up on all fours, which probably wasn't what he was planning to do.
It was close to being a beanball. I think I just lost it in flight when I was watching, and then I saw the number 7 emblazoned on his back as he tumbled to the ground.
Quite the textbook way to probably go about that delivery. This one's a quicker, faster one into the pitch. Knocked down to the man at short third man. They'll pick up another single. But they're going to need one over of substance here, aren't they? They're going to need an over with 2 or 3 boundaries that can really narrow that differential.
There's a big variance between runs to win 68 and balls remaining 49, but then in the next column, only 4 wickets left.
Harris gets down on bended knee and swings away out to the boundary for 4 behind square. That was a classy looking stroke.
Looked good. Yeah, straight outside leg stump, and he hit the ball well, hit it with power, but also with control, and it went straight to terra firma, so there was never any danger of being caught. But umpires watching carefully, and that ball raced across the turf for 4 to bring the score to 6 for 68 off the end of 12. So we've got 48 deliveries left, and the partnership starts to build. The last wicket falling with the score at 58. It's up to 68, just the 10 runs. Balls remaining 48, runs to win 64. Both of these batsmen at the moment you'd have to think would have to be right there at the end of the game, which is only 4 weeks, let's have a look. Balls remaining 48, that's it, full stop.
Yep, goes quickly, the T20 format. As we go with Wilkes, he's pushing that one down the leg side in the hope of a bit of outswing. Loses a little bit of control there, does Anthony. Ball is signalled as a wide by the umpire.
Umpires are Tan Moisana and James Firebeg getting the Guernseys. They're enjoying themselves too.
Ball taken around the corner, inside the ring there towards forward square, and so another single to the tally. Beautiful day for cricket here locally in Mildura, northwest Victoria today, approaching 12:30 local time. Not a cloud in the sky, Walshy.
No, it's still a bit fresh, although we've been in the club rooms. We haven't been out for a bit, but we see most of the lads out there haven't got any tops on. Well, any pullovers or ones with sleeves. Next ball turned down to short fine leg. And there's just a single. So 6-4, 70. The last time you looked, it was 15.1 degrees. Do a bit better than that this time, please, Pat. What have we got? The weather. Oh, 18.4. It's been up 3.4 degrees. That's good. That's good. Just outside the off-stumper playing a message through to the keeper. And let's pass on our best wishes to all of those supporters and players, etc., who would have made their journey to the MCG in the march this morning, watched by a lot of people, I would suggest, down in Melbourne with the public holiday. Grand final tomorrow, not far away, folks.
We're going to need an extra screen on our table, Peter, just to be able to have that just off to the right for us so we can keep an eye on the scores.
I had a chat to Mark Browning last night. He's on his way. Of course, he played for the Sydney Swans and South Melbourne beforehand. Never played in the premiership, but I said, how are you feeling about it? He said, well, a couple of years ago, they were terrible in that final against Geelong. He said, they won't be that bad, but he said, they've had a funny old year. They've played well in games early on, but then had that hiatus in the middle where the Port Adelaide beat them by over 100 points, but he said, yeah, we'll be okay. But he played in Tasmania and he coached Hobart to a premiership, and that was when Chris Fagan had moved on up to Brisbane. So there's links all over the place. Good luck to both teams.
Full-length delivery from Wilkes is taken out towards mid-on there by McFadden. Get through for the single. That is the completion of 13 overs. AV2 Cricket are 6 for 74, chasing down that target of 132. 58 runs from 42 balls is the equation, Walshy.
You keep looking at it and thinking a big over is absolutely necessary. 42 remaining for a 58 target. A massive over, but these two now both nearing double figures. Both getting there. McFadden 8 off 9 and Harris 10 off 13. Didn't get too much from the top. Sipple got 29, and you got to think to yourself, one of these has to just to be there at the finish, but they can't be there with 2s and 1s and at the occasional boundary. They've got to really push hard as we are getting ready to start this. 14th over, 6 for 74.
See Chris Lanigan just walking past in front of us. He's got the knee brace on the right knee. Got hurt late in that final in the Tri-Series, batting for Australia, right?
Ball outside leg stump. The attempt to turn down the leg side, unsuccessful. No possibilities of picking up a score in the 13th it is. 6 for 74. It's tight. Let's see what happens with this delivery. Down the leg side, and it's swung around the corner down to backward square on the boundary, along the ground all the way. Straight to Guy Randall, who does the fielding, and they're through for 1. So 6 for 75. The runs, it's like turning a tap off, but not turning it off all the way. So just a drip, drip, drip occasionally, which means 1s are there, but we need to turn the tap on to get a gush and get a 4 or a 6 if this game is to go very close to finishing at the end of 20 overs. This ball pushed away on the offside. They go for a quick single on the way through to try and clean it up was Eisenmenger, who did well to stop it but couldn't get it away quickly, so they got through for 1. 6 for 76, 13.3 overs down. As you can see, the sprawl, and you can see Eisenmenger getting across and doing well to stop it as he tries again. And it's pulled away on the onside, but it bounces safely and runs along the ground all the way. Randall out there does the fielding, gets it back in a hurry. He's busy and runs back to patrol where the big rope is. He steps inside now on the rope just in case he has to move in. We've seen a couple where the ball has been caught infield and the batsmen have not been given out, obviously, because the fieldsman has fallen over or stepped over the rope, and the 6 has been the judgment from the umpires, who've done brilliantly. Next ball outside the off stump, an attempt to dab it away on the offside, no contact. Tidy over, 13.5 down, 55 off 37, 6 for 77. The handball over the top to Pat Silcox at the end of this over with Harris 11 and McFadden 10. Need a score, lads. This ball outside the off stump, cut all right. Cut very well indeed. There'll be 2. And there won't be a possibility of 3. The ball picked up just inside the boundary. They are turning, they are running. Long throw there. And when we talk about the over 50s, one part of the body that might start to take effect is the arm for those long throws in deep. They get back for 3. Harris 14, McFadden 10. After 14, it's 6 for 80. The target is 132. That's 52 off 36. Pat, I'm looking at you. You're giving me nothing with your facial expressions. What are you thinking?
Well, I'm liking this partnership, Peter. They've certainly got a bit of work done here. They've advanced the score from 58 to 80, but still plenty to be done. 22 from 19 deliveries in just 13 minutes. But 52 from 36 now, so 6 overs remaining, and we will move into the third power play at the end of this one. So it's going to be harder to find the boundaries with an extra man allowed outside the restrictive circle. But they just need to continue to build here, keep the wickets in hand, and maybe come overs 17, 18, 19. They'll be in a position to really maybe take the long handle out here and try and eat away into that equation. So we'll return to the southern end. And it looks like it's Stephen James in the number 3 into the attack. Looking to just angle the ball away from the left-hander. He was the man, of course, who took one of those outfield catches earlier in this session. Had himself parked around by that hit me for 6 sign
Yes,
out
yes.
there, backward square. Have a look around the ground shortly and seeing how those other 2 games in progress are playing out. As awkward length from James just tucks Harris up a little. He'll get through for the leg bye. As we touch base with the competition centre. Can tell you, as we just wait on James, that the Sandgropers are 6 for 103, almost at the completion of 16 overs, so 44 to win off 25 balls with 4 wickets remaining. That game, of course, at Chafee Park in Moorbeen. There's a swing and a miss for McFadden, missing out on a bit of a fuller length delivery that time outside the off stump. And over at Mildura Senior College number 2, 17.4 overs gone, and spot on strikers in some real danger there. You'd think 8 for 70, 104 to win from 14 balls. Unlikely, Walshy.
Yes, that's not going to happen. So there could be one comprehensive victory. This won't be comprehensive. That's a full toss, and it's pulled away on the onside and pulled away well. It'll roll, it'll be picked up inside, and they'll come back for a couple. But that was overpitched. But it wasn't dispatched as best one would hope. Harris 14 off 18, McFadden 12 off 14 in the 15th over, or 14.4 overs. It's 6 for 83, 49 runs required, 32 balls remaining, 31 deliveries. Now as that ball's cut away towards the boundary on the offside, there's been some good solid running out there in that particular position, and they get through for 1, 6 for 84. And we've just finished now the 14th over. The balls remaining will flick back to 30, and the runs required will be moving to 47, I would suggest. We'll wait and see. 6 for 84, it's not the end of the over. They've got 1 ball left. 1 ball remaining to complete the over. 6 for 84. We wait. Ball a full length, attempt to drag it away on the onside. They go through quickly for a run. There was some bat in there as well. The appeal was for LBW, but he was stretched well down the track, and they get through for 1. The end of the over. 6 for 85. 5 overs remaining. 47 runs to get. Harris 14, McFadden 13. 15 down. 6 for 85. Pat, do you have feelings of a really close finish?
Oh, look, I think the Saxon Kings are in the van here, aren't they? If they continue to bowl the lines and lengths they are, and if they can prize one of these 2 out here in this 3rd and final power play, you get the feeling that they should be able to comfortably take out this opening fixture here at the Mildura Senior College. It's part of our Global Spirit of Cricket Festivale T20 competition. 2 games daily, starting today, rolling through tomorrow, Sunday and Monday as well. And we'll be bringing you all the action here from Mildura Senior College number 1. Just looking in sensational condition here under blue skies locally. This time it's taken around the corner. Harris will pick up a couple to the man who's had to advance from his post out there at deep backward square. So 6 for 87. Feet off the ground, Walshy, in this 16th over.
There's plenty of footwork there. He moved well away from being squared up, punched the ball down the ground, but just the 1 run.
Just the 1, okay.
Yeah, just the 1, yeah.
Wow.
They just got through the 1, that was it. He hit it well, but hit it too well, perhaps.
Advancing is McFadden as he hits down the ground towards long on. And that's going to be super tight at the bowler's end. Umpire was in great position. And umpire says not out, but my goodness, not sure if we'll get another chance to look at that one, Peter. That was extremely tight coming back for the second.
And I loved your one-liner there because you were spot on. The umpire got himself into magnificent position, just ducked across. That's umpire James Firebig. He's getting himself organised and ready for the next ball to be bowled, but was there for perfect position to adjudicate on what must have been perilously close.
Ball hit out into the offside. So they get through for another couple.
You said they're getting the ones and twos, but they're needing more than that. 27 balls remaining, 42 still to win, 6 for 90.
42 from 27 balls remaining here. 4 wickets in hand for EV2 cricket. The ball is lofted out into the deep on the onside. Fieldsman Gavin Brown elects to take it on the skip. And they get through for another single.
And I'm still, I really meant what I said about the golf shots, about not hitting them full swing and making perfect contact, because if that's the place, there's going to be someone in the field that's back on the ropes will take catches. So they have to be so careful about how much power they're putting into their strokes, so it doesn't go down of the gleeful fieldsman who's waiting out there on the boundary line. This one, the reverse sweep. Was there any contact? I'm trying to... No, there wasn't. It was an attempt to pull it away. You see those improvised strokes. If they look good and they come off, they're okay. If they don't look good and they don't come off, yuck. It's not good. It's messy. 6 for 91. Last ball of the 16th over. Another good over for the bowling team. A leg break, and it's dragged away on the onside for one. I'll see where the ball has gone. They're coming back to complete a couple. I still can't see where the fieldsman is. Oh, here it is now, because I've got a... I'm not sure what I've got in front of me, but if we move that out of the way, the club rooms would fall down, so I better leave it there. 6 for 93 at the end of 16. Harris on 17. Partnership now is getting amongst it. It's 35 runs off 31 deliveries, but the run rate is... Of 24 to go, 39 required at 6 for 93 with 16 down.
Awesome. Mengat completing his 4-over stint. Picked up 1 for 28. He also has of course, a catch in the outfield as well, so he's been a key contributor for the Saxon Kings. This second session here at the Mildura Senior College. As we wait on Stephen James, who'll resume from the southern end. 39 from 24, 17th over of the contest. This is where you really feel that they'll need a decent over, whether it's this one or the next one. Double figures, which will get them up over 100. Maybe give them a faint look in here at what will be a pretty impressive victory, I'd have to say, Walshy, considering the position they've come from.
Absolutely, absolutely. And not too much talk between overs, because you've got to be aware you've got to get through your overs, and the ton wagging that can take place forever has now been curtailed because they get back into business, and we finish coming up very shortly. Just 4 overs remaining, 39 runs to win. And a play and a miss outside the off stump, and it goes through to the keeper. Just looking outside, I could check with Andrew Kratzman, who he's now moved forward. He's sitting by himself. And I'm reckoning he's posing the fact that they might be zip and a L after their first performance. This one wide of the off stump, another play and a miss. That was well wide of the stumps too, but umpire having a look. That umpire there, who I had the pleasure of meeting this morning, Tan Moisana. Six for 93.
Advancing and playing and missing for the 3rd time in the over. So some real issues now for EV2 cricketers. Glenn McFadden just can't get going here. Been a great over so far from Stephen James. Continues to attack that 4th, 5th stump line outside the off.
There's 3 dot balls in the 17th. Excuse me. Thank you very much. Thank your mother for the rabbits for that one. And that's another short one outside the leg stump. He tried to drag that one away, but I think he signalled it. He signalled that a wide? I think so. or not?
No, I think that's it's passed over the top of the stumps.
Oh, that's 4 dot balls in the over. And that was sprayed down the leg side. Let's see what this one is. It's the attempted drive away on the offside. So of the 5 deliveries, 4 outside the off stump, play and miss, play and miss, play and miss, play and miss. And the other one was down the leg side, play and miss. So that's 5 dot balls, 19 balls remaining, 39 runs required. Last ball of the over is a full toss outside leg stump and is worked away on the onside for the single only. Good strong throwback. And what an over that was. Spectacular bowling. 1 run coming from the over. James, 2 overs, none for 4. And it's 6 for 94. EV2 cricket playing the Saxon Kings. Saxon kids, well, they're having some fun now, I reckon, because they've got this game well and truly wrapped up. They've scored 5 for 131, and in the chase it's 6 for 94 with 3 to go.
James, 2 overs, none for 4. Quite remarkable in this sort of situation that you could bowl 5 dot balls at the back end of the third power play, but he was able to do that. Unfortunately, McFadden was continually looking to heave him across on the onside, where maybe opening up and hitting through the offside with the ball swinging away might have been the better option. But he's got himself back on strike here. As we see some shrewd tactical play being employed by the Saxon Kings. As it looks like it's the skipper Andrew Sharp who's going to take up the attack here in this, the 18th over from the school end at the Mildura Senior College.
He's taking his time.
They're obviously well within their 80-minute time frame, because he's not concerned about that, is he?
No, he's not. A few of the spectators yelling out, "Go Sharpie, go you good thing!" The skipper being treated with some elevation of vocals from those that are gathered, and now we're about to get into it. Couple to go.
Ball is hit out towards the onside boundary, and will clear the rope. So good start that time for McFadden, as Sharp just dragged that one down a little into the pitch, trying to get that one going through the air a little quicker. So 6 for 98. This is the 18th over. Still does seem a long way away for EV2 cricket here, but if they can find the boundary a little bit more in this over, that equation will certainly narrow a little, but still plenty of work to be done. That one's fizzing past the outside edge. Batsman's just taking a little bit of walk away off the square to gather his thoughts again. It was a tricky one for Mason coming through. He tried to get it up there at a pretty high position. The quicker ball, which is muscled out towards the man there. Well, they've got 3 on the onside there, haven't they? They've got a deep mid-wicket. Man, it's squarish long on. And then also a man straight down the ground as well. So doing well to find the boundary out there initially, McFadden, but now with the left-hander, they'll ring a man up onto the ring there in the cover position. 33 to win, 15 balls remaining, 4 wickets in hand.
Some adjustment that's being made there. The bail is being returned. Green stumps looking good. And now that's one of the umpires running backwards brilliantly. That's Tan Moisana. 17.4 overs, 6 for 99. That ball away on the onside, and they will get through for 1. The wicketkeeper doing the running back. Gee, they cover a lot of territory, don't they?
Sure do.
6 for 100 with 1 to go in the 17.5 or so. We're a couple of overs plus 1 delivery left. 32 runs required. That's the 100 up. But the target is still 32 off 13. And this ball, the advance down the wicket and the pad away on the offside for the single. But good tight bowling there, working out the angles and working out where they have to pitch the ball. 1 run is required, and it's taken off the last ball of that over. 2 overs remaining. It's 6 for 101. The target is 132, which does appear to be way, way out of reach with, let's have a look and see, just a couple to go with McFadden 28 and Harris 14. They've added some good runs for this partnership, but it's come too late.
Sandgropers are 6 for 123 in the 19th. Chasing that tally set by Australian Pavilion of 147. They need 24 from the final 5 deliveries with 4 wickets in the sheds. And the game is complete behind us at Mildura Senior College number 2. Spot on strikers finishing 8 for 86 in reply to Team Thunder's 6 for 173.
Team Thunder, if you don't mind, a good start for them in this competition.
Almost as we were from this southern end, as McFadden again trying to swing the ball away on the onside, and ball goes past the outside edge of the bat and through to the keeper.
He just can't make contact, can he?
Hasn't learned his lesson from that over previous.
No, he's batting well outside the leg stump too. He's batting well down the leg side.
This time the ball's been forced out into the offside. There's 2 men in pursuit there for the Kings. Phil Puller gets over it, throws it back into the bowler. I'll get through for a couple. So McFadden is 27 from 30. Harris 17 from 24. 6 for 103. This time he tries to walk across his stumps outside the off to turn it around the corner, and he manages to get his body in the way of it, and they'll get through for the leg bye. Just can't find the boundary at the moment, can they, Walshy?
No. We're just looking out through the window of our commentary box, and can you hear the drums? Fernandez, he's there rubbing his noggin, now putting his cap on and thinking, well, will I get a bat or not? I don't know. Only 9 balls remaining. 6 for 104. Yes, that's wide of the off stump and played on the full down the ground for 1 and perhaps 2. There was a slight misfield, and the batsman will come back to complete 2. So good running, but the ball pitched perhaps a bit too full and hit down the ground. Hit well. A couple to go. 6 for 106 now with 2 balls of this over and 1 over remaining and 26 required. 6 for 106.
Short and down the leg side. And that one will get to the boundary for 4. A much needed one for EV2 cricket. As Harris will advance now to 23. That brings up the 50 partnership too. 52 from 48 balls in 32 minutes. So they've got things rolling, but they're going to need 2 really decent overs. Or what should I say, 1. We're at the back end of the 19th, so 1 final flurry. 22 from 7. Another boundary here to get it under 20 in that final over. Maybe hold on to your hats, Walshy, but it's going to be a big effort, isn't it?
But there needs to be a boundary, and we need to have one of the umpires or the umpire at this end waving his arm out for a boundary. He's hit it well too. He's hit that very well indeed.
It's a maximum.
That's a big hit, isn't it?
Yep. It's gone out to the car park. Just keeping an eye on my vehicle there, which is
it's okay.
2 adrift there, so I'm pretty safe for the time being. I think I'll be angling to get here a little early tomorrow to find a more prioritised parking position. So 16 to win. Could they do it? 16 from 6. All of a sudden, the boundaries have been found after Stephen James had done such a good job through the mid part of his 3rd over. Harris is 29, McFadden is 27.
These two have just poked and prodded and done what's necessary. They played out an over with 5 balls, a wish and a wash and a miss earlier on. But now that big 6, 16 to win off 6 balls. 6 for 116.
Took 15 off that last over from James, so they can do that again. We'll be all locked up.
It's exciting, this finish. Let's see what can happen. Surely this is a bolter from the blue coming home at the rate of knots after the speed wobblers were existent. Plenty of wickets falling, and with the score at 6 for 58, you thought to yourself, no, that's not going to happen. Well, now at 6 for 116 with 6 balls to go. There's a lot of sixes in what we're saying. Will there be any more sixes in what we're saying about with this last over? We'll wait and see. We're about to find out.
Guy Randell is back into the attack, so tough to have to get going again after having a bit of a spell. He starts with one angled into the batsman. So it's pushed down the ground for 1. So 15 from 5. The equation once it ticks over.
Harris now. Wonder what's going through his mindset as the field positions are being changed. The skipper, Sharp, just dragging back a fieldsman. He's turned himself and running towards the boundary. 15 runs off 5 deliveries. 6 for 117. We'll take it in turns to call. I'll go with this one, and then the pressure's on you, my friend Pat. Waiting patiently. This ball dragged away down the onside. They go through for a quick single. They'll only be the one. Half a shout there for LBW. There's a leg by called, so the extra's up by 1. 14 to win. 4 balls remaining. 6 for 118. It's your move, Patrick.
So McFadden takes strike. As you can see, he's standing just outside the leg stump. He's swinging the ball out there towards the man at long on, but well patrolled there. Gavin Brown keeps it to 1, so 13 from 3. They need a boundary now, I think, just to really get it right back in their thinking. Don't want to leave it to the last 2 to potentially come up with 2 maximums. It's the left-handed Harris, who's having a look around the corner there, backward square. And it's a return catch to the bowler, would you believe? What a catch that was from Guy Randell. He was the man for the job. And that might just be enough to see the Saxon Kings home in this opening T20 clash at the Mildura Senior College. Score is 7 for 119. Harris is caught and bowled by Randell for 29. McFadden remains 29, not out. And what a breakthrough that was for the Kings, Peter Walsh.
Very good catch too. It was hit hard. He spanked that ball back down the ground. And on the follow through, the ball hit well. He took it and flicked it up in the air like picking an orange down the road from Renmark. And the ball was gleefully accepted by the man who got the wicket, Randell. And that means it's 7 for 119. 2 balls remaining, 13 runs to win. And this is not being patronising, but the right side has won this game. The way the game has unfolded, they've been in front. They've had their noses, their big snorkels just in front most of the way through, and that's what's going to mean they start this competition off with a victory. 2 balls remaining, 13 runs. You'd need a no ball and a couple of sixes. Look, anything can happen in cricket, I know that, but I very much doubt that anything's going to happen now. The wood is there. With the wood in hand, we'll see what happens.
So fantastic rearguard action by McFadden and Harris. Partnership of 61.
Wasn't that good?
Got them right back into the hunt, didn't it? But 13 from 2 now looks a tough challenge. You'd think that Wood needs to launch one over the rope first ball here. All he's able to do is advance and hit the ball down the ground for a single. So 12 to win from the final delivery here at the Mildura Senior College, the opening T20 clash. It's part of our Global Spirit of Cricket Festivale. We'll be back here, of course, for game number 2 at about 2 p.m. The RJR All-Stars taking on the Sandgropers. Final ball, Walshy.
What can happen? 7 for 120. The ball is hit in the air, bounces on the way through, and there is a victory. The game is all over at 7 for 120 in reply to the chase of 5 for 131. A good solid start. Plenty of runs being scored. Let's have a think about it, because we've got 251 runs scored and we had 12 wickets fall And that was just a morning of cricket, Pat. But we say congratulations to the man who led his side to the leadership, and the qualities that were exemplified belong to the winning team. At 7 for 120, chasing 131, the Kings, the Saxon Kings, enjoy their spoils and defeat the EV2 cricket team. And they defeat them by a margin of, let's have a look, only 11 runs as it turned out to be in the finish, but a good game of cricket too. We'll wrap it up and then we'll get ourselves organised for the next game, but still a performance of substance by the side that just kept on peppering away and would be very, very chuffed. Gavin Brown got 43. He was good with the bat and he set them up when they needed runs early and he did well.
There's Sharp, the skipper, with 32. Puller was 20 not out at the end. So they got to 5 for 131 in their 20 overs. Short was the best of the bowlers for EV2 cricket, 3 for 14 wickets for Sipple and Wood. And then in that second session, which didn't get off to the best start at all, 1 for none with Mark Little at it in the second delivery. 3 29s in that list for Ash Sipple. Also Harris and McFadden, who was 29 not out from 34, including 2 boundaries. So 7 for 120 at the end of their 20 overs. Wilkes picking up 3 for 20 from his 4 overs, and Randell, that very clever caught and bowled at the end there, 2 for 21 from his 4. So great result for the Saxon Kings. They've got things moving exactly to their liking in this first session as we look around to games upcoming across the carnival. Just trying to pick up a few of those results from the early games played, but NV Play System is just having a bit of a think about things there. But the RJR All-Stars and Lightning Storm was one of the earlier games today, but we'll see Saxon Kings taking on Team Thunder, which will be behind us, Mildura Senior College number 2. The Sandgropers and the RJR All-Stars is our next game for broadcast here at Mildura Senior College number 1. And out at Chafee Park, EV2 Cricket will take on Australian Pavilion, of course, led by Richard Gabb, who was so impressive in that first session this morning.
He got 80. He just loves making runs. And, of course, the run hero, Simon Nisha, got 106, 11 fours and 5 sixes. But you don't have to score a lot and you don't have to take a lot of wickets for a race in down to 2, heading towards the wire, and did brilliantly today. It was good to have such a good start to our competition. We'll be back in about half an hour's time, I think, or something like that, but we'll go and gnaw on a salad roll and get ourselves organised, get some dehydrated water into the system, and then continue with our coverage here. But good fun. 1 down, lots to go in what we believe is one of the best cricket weeks that you'll have as we lead up to, of course, the AFL Grand Final tomorrow. End of day 1, not quite, but halfway through day 1, the action coming to you in the big 2020 Big Bash. Cheers now.